Everybody whose first free game this is, man, I'm gonna say a lot of things a bunch of different times just to keep everybody in the conversation. But the topic of what we're doing is, man, collectively, I've been in this business for 15 years and had the privilege of working with so many great people that's helped get us to this point. We got a lot of different people in it. You'll hear me talking to. You got Frank, you got Jim, you got Cav from our team and Christy from our team, Dave. There's tons of people here, and the whole thing that we're gonna do today is just push out game and try to give y'all information that wasn't true for us. We had to learn by making mistakes. And my way of paying forward is by helping others not make the same mistake and just helping people grow and learn without bumping their head as hard as I had to bump mine. Somebody just asked for the Court Purple release. Man, we ain't doing no sneaker releases over here though. Giving out games, you can get it for free, but we ain't got no Court Purple. Jordan, man, I'm not Nike Talk. Like, yo, come on, man. This is about getting better. I know copping is what we do, but yo, tonight we're gonna put that on the side for a second. Somebody just said open in Naples, Florida. That don't sound like a bad idea. Yo, who else we got up here? JJ, what's good with you, man? You've been quiet. Dave, you got JJ unmuted?
What's the full name I'm looking for?
Jeff Atienza.
Here, Michael, grab him.
Jeff Atienza. I see him up in front of me, but I don't know if he's muted or y'all muted.
Oh, he's on now.
Tapping in.
Jeff, you good?
Yes, sir.
All right. So all the people who obviously were friends and people that have helped our business over the last years and been bigger than helping the business, helped me personally just grow. Y'all have the ability to mute and unmute yourself and jump in a conversation whenever y'all feel like it's necessary. Like, yo, y'all, we've sat and had many lunches, drinks, conversations, and y'all been on both sides of us building shit. So the goal today is everybody that jump on is just answering questions to help people build whatever they got going on. And as we mentioned on Hype Beast, financially, we're going to be willing to, I shouldn't say I'll be willing to personally help understand what the situation is, help people build something as long as they're trying to build it for the right reason. We'll get back to that later if that makes sense. Let me see how we 150 strong. Dave Butler, how long we waiting before we going?
Oh no, go for it. We just gonna keep letting people in. We already at 160, so we just keep running. So
we got anybody queued up for questions, or you want me to start with the run and show and how we gonna run this thing?
Yeah, go with the run and show and the house rules, and then we'll start taking questions in the chat, and we'll start alley-ooping.
What's up, everybody? My name is, I think as most of you know, my name is James Whitner. I'm the owner. What we're doing now is free game. Free game is something that we've been doing for the last about 2 years, and it's something that was important to me when I was at retail. When I worked at retail, I think that the Bible, what I always got, being connected to the communities we were in and being tight with the people who came in and supported us, it was always more than just selling them things. It was always about giving them back the information that I was learning, and them in turn getting information and coming in and passing it to me. And I think as I've evolved in 15 years, I've been able to grow my network of people, and those people have helped me be able to grow and move forward. Tonight, what my goal is to do is take this platform and make it digital based on everything that's happening in all of our lives right now. Normally, we do free game at all of our Be Social locations. We got Be Socials currently in Atlanta, Houston, and coming soon to Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Detroit, and places that I'm probably forgetting right now, but less about us, more about y'all. So house rules, please send any questions you have to the chat. If you're in Zoom right now and you're a participant, you got questions, start firing them into Zoom right now. If you put the questions in the chat, our team on the backside, Dave, is going to unmute your mic. When he unmutes your mic, feel free to start talking and ask your question. But first, say who you are, where you're from, and then get into your questions. Dave Patterson.
Yeah, I think you covered everything. So with that, I'll go ahead and kick it off, James.
Go for it.
Obviously, we're all social distancing and we're respecting everyone's health and we're staying apart. And one of the things that we all share in common right now is time, right? A lot of idle time to be specific. So I wanted you to kind of share with us your thoughts on the importance of capitalizing on this time we always have on our hands and the importance of that, and maybe some of your personal experience with idle time and how ultimately making good use of that has led to your success.
100%. I think most of y'all on the top side of the screen know my story, but for me, and I think growing up how we grew up, I think I talked to a few people yesterday. Kareem, what up?
Oh, what up?
Idle time is difficult, right? Because the world we live in is all about socializing. But I've always said to our team, and I say it a lot to my son, the only way you get better is by yourself. You get better based on how you spend the time with yourself and being able to commit time to yourself. I read something from the homie Joe Freshgoods that he posted on his Instagram, that he was struggling to come up with something creative to do over the time away. And creativity, it doesn't come to us all at the same time, but even if creativity doesn't hit us, there's still opportunities for us to take idle time and make ourselves better. So with this tonight, once again, my goal is to just do this. Like, I've been focusing on the time to spend with my kids and to make myself better, but more about inviting everyone in to help everybody on their personal journey and to see if there's any information that me or any of the fellows on top of the screen that's been along this journey with me can have to help anybody. So with that being said, Dave, do we got any questions queued up yet? If not, we could keep just chatting it up.
Got one coming in from Juan.
Juan, what's up? And everybody, please get your questions into the queue. Whatever you got going on. Once again, you got some fellas that's been around for a while and been in the business. So please let us help you. What's good with you, Juan?
Hey, what's up, James? I'm from South Carolina. I work at the APB in Greenville.
What's good with you, boy?
And I was wondering, like, with 15 years in the game and with 17 different locations, like, what's the next move in the long run?
For us personally?
Yeah, as a company.
As a company,
as a company, or just you, whatever you prefer to answer, and it's easier for you, I guess.
Personally, I think I wake up just trying to be better every day, right? So personally, it's about just being better. That's just a blanket statement for my life. As a company and as a group, it's just about this. It's about getting closer to the streets and getting closer to the communities where we're from. Because ultimately, for me, I've said this many times over. It's always about me having a conversation with my younger self and some of the frustrations that and hurdles that I needed to jump to get here. So I'm always about trying to help people like me get to who aspire to do more, be more, get to those places, if that makes sense. So singularly, that's the big vision is obviously, we got I'm a year full concept flagship launching in Atlanta. Houston be social launching, Baltimore launching, Detroit launching, Pittsburgh be social launching. I'm a year, we're looking in Asia. So a lot of things that I don't necessarily want to throw all out there, but I can share for now.
Thanks for your questions, Jared. Next question is going to come from Jimmy Brown. We can cue him up, Dave.
What's up, Jim? Thank you. Thank you too, bro.
Oh, man.
Jim, what's up with you, bro?
It was good, James.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Man, blessed. No complaints. What's good with you in your world? Where you from?
I'm from Winston, but I've been in Charlotte like 10 years now.
Oh, what's good with you, boy?
Hey, man, I'm trying to get things rolling, bro. That's it. But yeah. So my question is, I know I used to hit you up in the DMs all the time.
Yeah.
My page, yeah.
Did I reply?
What's that?
Did I reply?
Yeah. But so what I'm looking at is, I asked, like, how does an individual mobilize upward in the industry? Because the way I really wanted to get things rolling was I really wanted to open up a boutique of my own. But as I went out to look for accounts, everyone said you have to have at least 2 years of selling in a store prior to taking on these accounts. So I always do a closed loophole with that. What I tried to do was I started clothing company, and then I know that the accounts were looking at the same stuff like that, but things weren't really, growing, or I wasn't able to mobilize or standardize that. So I'm wondering, how does one really set upward mobility in the industry?
Man, the honest to God truth is, I think you gotta get one person to believe in you first, right? Because everybody, nobody wants to be the first person to go in. Like I remember those days, and matter of fact, Joe's here from Paris, and even to this day, we still go through this today. We still go through the same thing today. There are still accounts in different genres of our business who doesn't want to be the first account to come into your store. So, but what you got to do is you got to be super sharp on what you stand for, why you're different than anybody else in your area, and where are you looking at opening?
I wanted to be somewhere in Charlotte. Everywhere I looked was like in the Noda neighborhood, some places uptown.
You know the honest to God truth, bro, with no disrespect.
I know it's wild out here.
Yeah, everybody's gonna say social status is within 5 miles.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. I already got
so when you're doing that, right? Because you have a point of view, right? And there's a way that you want to position yourself in the marketplace. So you got to go in and find your niche. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
And when you do, and just find different ways to tell your story and make it uniquely yours. And when people see, and the other thing is this, my big homie Antoine always tell me, follow up. When somebody tell you no, don't take it as a definitive no. Make sure you understand why they're telling you no, and you can write that no and come back to them and follow up once you do. Does that make sense?
Got you, for sure. Okay.
And yo, I do free game in Charlotte once a month, bro. I would love to meet you and help you more. Does that make sense?
Hey, for sure, man.
So once we get cranking, hit me up and we'll do whatever we can do to help you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be at those free games.
All right, bro. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
I no doubt. What we got, Dave?
But thanks for that, man. Next question is coming in from Hassan S. He's got a question about finance.
What's up, Hassan?
My bad, y'all. I was on mute and I had the webcam covered up. So basically my question is, if I wanted my own brick and mortar set up, the biggest part seems to be getting it off the ground.
Yep.
And, I've got some savings saved up, but I don't want to sink everything and it not be financially lucrative or profitable. With that being said, I know I'm going to have to struggle, but should I be approaching the bank or should I be looking for investors? Credit.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Well, just like, should I chase the bank? Should I chase investors? Like, should I enhance my credit score? Like, what do I have to know in order to get like a brick and mortar off the ground? And what's your recommendations?
Yo, Joe Staley, are you off of mute?
That's what I was going to say. Can you hear me?
Yeah, where my man Joe at?
Yeah, Joe.
You there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You want me to take this one?
What Joe's question was, right?
Yes. You want me to take this one?
Yeah, I think this is a good one for you. Go for it.
Bank's not going to help you. Why would I give you money? It's like you have to figure that out. You have to have the plan. Maybe it is an investor for you. Maybe it is the bank because you know someone there. It's all on you, man. I did somewhat a percentage of what James did with this sneaker industry thing. I have a couple stores in Kentucky. And I mean, I'm going to be real. Like, I had a partner and we were getting money any way necessary, if that makes any sense to you. 13 years later, I bought that partner out. I own 2 stores in a 6,000 square foot warehouse with a banging online business and 2 really dope stores on the inside and a bunch of guys and communities that follow me. So my opinion should be valid here. And the money thing is, that's all on you. However you're going to get it is how you got to get it, man. Like, you can't be waiting or blaming the reason why your shit didn't work because you didn't have the money or you couldn't figure it out. I know that's harsh, but it's like, maybe you got to work your ass off. Maybe you got to sell something. It's like, it's all on you, man. And it's how bad you want it. Like, the reason why I'm in here is because, like, I wanted to say to James, it's like, how far were you going to go with this until you gave up? Because that's what I always tell kids. It's like, if I would have gave up a month before my break, then I would have never made it, So it's like, that all goes in with the money. It's like, how bad do you want what you're going to do? You start off with the littlest money possible. We start off with $10,000.
Hassan, is what he's saying making sense to you, bro?
Huh?
Hassan, is what he's saying making sense to you?
Nah, it makes perfect sense. I get it completely. So I got the main points. You know, if you got to be willing to die for is what I'm understanding from it. And
100%.
the bank's not gonna help. So you know,
It
get
might
money
help.
the way possible.
Hold on, listen, bro. It's a chance. We know some dudes that the bank helped. It ain't
Yeah.
never been me. It took me. Listen, honestly, by the time a bank was helping me, I don't need them.
It's same.
Does that make sense? They want to help you when you don't need help. When it's time,
Yeah.
when it's time to crank up and time to put your knuckles to the ground,
They're not gonna
crank
risk.
up and put your knuckles to the ground, bro.
Cause like I'm coming from a place where, you know, I just got out of school and like I got student loan debt, so I might not have the best credit score. So, you know, just trying to, you know, move all the pieces the best way.
Where you
All
from,
I'm
bro?
saying is don't let that stop you.
Where you from?
I'm from Durham, North Carolina, born and raised, Bull City all day.
If
And
you ever,
that's
if you could ever come down to free game, bro, we would love to meet you, love to help more, and love to help be a part of your journey, yo. And
Bet.
I don't say that as, if you know me, I don't say nothing as, I say it because I mean it. And I do free game to help. So if there's any way, we can help, or you start down your journey and there's questions you got, we're here, yo.
Bet. I just want to say thank you. And I love being in social status. I'm a Meunier. I love the vibes. And just keep it up, man. I'm
Thank
a
you, bro.
proud shopper.
Thank you, love, bro. Yo, bring Dre Hayes up on the screen.
Yo, what up? I'm here.
What up, boy?
There you go.
What up?
Hey, man. Glad
Hey, yo.
to be having one of our classic conversations with the fellas. You know, we do this everywhere.
Yo, that's the same thing. Me and Dre talked earlier today, and what we said earlier, he was like, "Yo, what is you gonna do?" And I'm like, "Man, it's just like we having drinks or having dinner. Like for all this time, we had all these people to bring us all together and help each other, but we got to extend this out to the world and help more people."
Yo, Dre, I'm
Hey,
curious.
what's
You want to interact with that question? Startup money, other people's money, getting it from the mud. How do people go about that in this climate?
Oh man. Well, it's interesting that you guys were talking about the banks because I was literally texting offline with my partner talking about we need the bank. Nah, but it's you know, when we started this, you know, we started it with our own money. You know, we all have different stories. You know, my company is a little different than my friends' companies that are up here.
Explain your company some so people understand.
All right, so you know, I'm one of the co-founders of the foundation, and we're a brand development agency. So we started off as a sales agency, where we were doing sales and consulting work. So we were basically the liaison between the brands and the retailers, right? So we were commission reps when we first started. And that's how I know all of these guys, because we've all done business together and become friends over the last, you know, damn, 20 years with some of the homies. But when we first started, you know, we funded our agency ourselves, much like, you know, the guys are talking. You know, we went in there, we used our savings. And, you know, in our business, we have our own set of challenges that's different in retail. When you're a commission sales rep, you're selling future deliveries. So we're selling, you know, 6 months out, meaning we're not getting paid until that product ships 6 months
Hold on,
later.
Dre, I just got an idea. Yo, Dave, who's the dude from 2 questions ago that said he's trying to open a boutique in Charlotte?
Hassan.
No, was that Hassan or was that the kid before him?
Something with a J. Jim?
Yo, let's make sure we bring him back in and connect him to the foundation.
Jimmy Brown. All right.
Like, these is the dudes who had to give me that game 15 years ago.
1000%.
So the point, let's make sure we connect them, because like, yo, the youngin might get some no's to start, but eventually if they get the right thing,
Then he's in it.
exactly.
Nah, for sure. But you know, you're right, and definitely connect us. You know, definitely always glad to share the knowledge and help people out. Because somebody helped put me on, and the only way that we can pay that forward is to continue to help put others on.
100%.
But
100%.
you know, but what I was saying about, you know, us in the commission is when you're a commission sales rep, you don't get paid until that product ships. And in most situations, there's two different kinds of sales situations. There's a pay on ship, meaning you get paid when the goods ship. So let's say the product ships between the 1st and the 30th of the month, you'll get paid around the 15th or the end of the following month, whatever that total amount of product that was invoiced. And then there's the more common thing you see in the industry. It's called pay on collect, meaning the rep doesn't get paid until the retailer pays their bill. So the product ships. A lot of these retailers may have terms where they might have net 30 or they might have net 60. Some retailers pay up front with their credit card, but then you don't get paid until that retailer pays. So, you know, being a commissioned sales rep or owning a sales agency comes with its own set of challenges, because you have to have the funds to be able to finance your business when you're not collecting any money. So that, you know, one of the toughest things of any business, and I know all of my partners can tell you, is managing cash flow. No matter what business you're in, that is the killer of all killers right there. And that's what everybody has to hustle and struggle with and play the game with, is managing cash flow.
100%. And if you start looking at what's happening today with this pandemic, most of the companies that's having problems right now had a weak balance sheet, and they don't have the cash to be closed 4 or 5 times. I see somebody popping up. Yo, Dave, you got somebody who got a question for us? I don't want to make sure we go on without getting people in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's go to Asmara Holmes. She's got a question about women in streetwear.
Let's go. Hey, Mara.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm from Silver Spring, Maryland, so right outside of DC.
Okay.
And my question is, all of you guys, what are your views on women's lack of representation in streetwear when they had such a big emphasis in street culture in the beginning? So we have like Marianne Fusco, who doesn't get really talked about a lot. We have Beth Gibbs, who people rarely hear her names. What are your guys' views on the lack of representation of women, and what you guys think needs to be done to make sure that representation changes?
I have a point of view on this, and I think I've always said the problem for street boutiques, specifically in women, is there aren't enough women owners of boutiques, if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
What you end up getting is a bunch of men who have a point of view on women who shouldn't, if that makes sense. Like, yo, I know what I'm good at. Our team strength is men's, right? But you're a woman. I'm sure you have a sharp perspective on women. We need more of you to become owners in our space, because then you could bring a new narrative and discussion to streetwear. I think there's a ton of women influencers, not a lot of owners. Does that make sense?
No, I'm actually looking to possibly start that. But I'm really into research, because I feel like backing the idea is more powerful. So I'm just always wondering how other people view this situation to add to my idea to make sure that I approach it the right way.
I think, honestly, just like we were talking to Hassan a second ago, I think get all the information and figure out a way to start, and start small, because the opportunity for any woman who wants to start a boutique is enormous. Like there's Naked, there's Rhyme. Who else is there, Dre? Naked, Rhyme, and I'm sorry if I'm missing any other women's boutiques.
I'm trying to think right now. There's that one in London that's in Shoreditch that the two women own.
Yes.
Yeah, that's in Shoreditch, and I can't remember the name of it right now. But
you got premium goods in Houston.
What's up, Ari?
What up, homie? You got premium goods, and you forget Union in New York was Marianne for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
For 20 years, one of the most influential stores ever in the biggest city in the country. So,
but to answer your question, we just struggled to come up with 5, if that makes sense. So I say that to say the opportunity for you to do something is enormous if you do the work. And obviously, this platform is here to help you. And our goal is to continue to grow the platform through brick and mortar, and now with us understanding the importance of bringing it to digital, we'll continue to bring this platform to digital, and we're here to help you.
Well, you also have tons of female artists and designers. Like you have arguably some of the top people in streetwear right now. Cynthia Liu is a woman. You know, she is arguably one of the most dominant, iconic styles in streetwear today. Right? You got Melody Ashani.
Yep.
You got whatever Layla's doing. I mean, you got people showing a female perspective that are creeping into men's apparel, that are having a strong voice right now from the female perspective, not strictly driven towards the female audience.
Let me ask you a question specifically. Do you think women are interested in, and this is all women. This is all women who are watching. Do you think women are interested in unisex or women's only apparel and sneakers? Like, what's your thought process? What's your thought process on that?
I feel that that's a little bit difficult because you see Married to Mom, when they tried selling their own thing, it didn't work that well because women wanted to still be around like the men. They still wanted to be in that culture. But sometimes just shrinking it and making it pink and adding some floral to it and saying it's a women's streetwear line doesn't allow women to feel connected to the culture overall. So I personally lean more towards unisex because I still feel like it allows women to still wear what they want and use it out and style it the way that they want to make it more feminine. It's not forcing them to have to wear something. It's still allowing that culture to come through and allowing them to still feel represented and not just like, okay, well, here's your little portion you're gonna wear and you be okay with that.
100%. Well, thank you very much for coming in. And yo, where you said you're in Maryland, outside of DC.
Yeah.
We'll have
DMV.
We'll have Be Social coming to Baltimore soon, and we'll be doing hand wash cold vents at Alma Mengier. So feel free to stop in if you can. If not, just check us out again once we go digital.
No, yeah, I'm gonna need a great store. The store's dope. So.
Thank you. No, what we got, Dave?
Thank you for that, Asmar. We're getting a lot of comments and concerns and questions about you guys' feedback as far as COVID and how it's affecting day-to-day business and kind of like the impact, obviously the elephant in the room. We should touch on some point, but how is that impacting you guys' respective roles and processes out here in the streets?
Honestly, listen, when it comes to me and grind, and this is me personally, right? And I'm speaking for myself, and everybody speak different. I just spoke to Jeff Staple from Business and Hype yesterday, and as I look back on the things I said, I was a little harsh, but I come from a place that's just struggle all the time. I come from nothing, so I'm still conditioned to focus that way. Like I don't let where we are at any time. I don't let where we are and what's happening to us and with us change how I approach the business. So at all times for me, it's knuckle to cement. So right now things are a little tough. So that means I just buckle up and go for the ride. Like, listen, obviously lives are being lost, and that's more important than anything. People don't have homes. That's more important. Business is going to make it or not. But to me, the human toll is more meaningful, and people don't got, people couldn't eat before this. I'm trying to not cuss. People couldn't eat before this. People didn't have places to stay before this. So, retail will survive or not. Honestly, I don't give that many fucks about it. I know we're going to be good, but I want people in general to be better, if that makes sense. Our culture is resilient, so we're going to survive through everything, if that makes sense. Our culture is not going anywhere. So I think we got to use the opportunity of COVID-19 and just help each other more, so we just come out of this stronger as a culture. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
And Dave, if you need to let somebody in who got questions, feel free, let somebody in. If somebody has an interesting question, let somebody in so we can engage with them and talk to them.
We're gonna go next to Kareem Day.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What's up, bro? I see you rocking that bison.
All day, man, all day.
100.
Hey, this is beautiful, man. I had a question. My question was for you, if you could just share some game on how important it is for brands or businesses to be logistically sound, like on the back end of their business.
Oh God, Ari.
Everything.
So when we start talking about back end, that's the best part about having some of my friends here who I've been in this business with for 15 years, and we talk back and forth about different things. And when we start talking about logistics, Ari, Dre, Joe, retail? Are you speaking to retail logistics or wholesale logistics or a combination of both?
A combination of both.
Ari and Dre, I'm gonna let y'all go first on wholesale logistics.
All right. Well, I can chime in on this one. And I've known James for many years. In every conversation we always have, my mentality is always build it and they will come.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always been very focused on making sure that we had a sound logistical infrastructure. From when we were just sales agents to the point where we are now, where we actually own, license, and distribute brands. The first thing that we did is we went and built a proper back end and really something that can scale. So because one of the things that I see hurt so many companies is people not focusing on making sure that they have a sound infrastructure. And a lot of times it's not even due to finance, it's due to a lack of focus. Obviously finance can play a part in it, it can help you build it, but you got to start working with what you have. And sometimes people do not focus on that part of their business. And when you look at successful businesses, almost 100% of the time, they have a sound infrastructure. And they've gotten there along the journey, because sometimes people didn't have it at the beginning, but they figured it out, and that's what makes them strong. So it's very important to have it, man. You got to invest the time, the energy, do the research, and make sure that you're sound, because the businesses that are surviving now, a lot of them have the sound infrastructure. Now, granted, we're in a situation now nobody could have foresee happening, and even some of these sound infrastructures, once business stops, like businesses aren't meant to be shut down for 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, forget 2 months. Like, that's why you see so much chaos right now, because most businesses goes back to managing cash flow, running your infrastructure. I mean, essentially you got businesses that are stopped, and it's dangerous out here.
And when you
I think oh, go ahead, James.
Go ahead. Well, what I was
I think like the
go ahead, Ari. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think the last three questions all tie together, right? Like the banking question, the COVID question, infrastructure question. Like at the end of like all the chaos, there'll be massive opportunity, right? It's unfortunate to say that, but that's the reality of chaos, right? Brands that we all perceive as very strong are not going to survive this. Brands that we all perceive as very strong, people on this call know they've already gotten rid of 75% of their staff because they can't get through this.
And on the other side of it, from a retail perspective, without infrastructure in a DC, you can't actually operate for scale, right? One of the things that Ari used to bother me about years ago, when I was still like a team of 3, I would never hire a buyer. It was like, yo, what the I need to hire a buyer for? I could do the buy myself. And this is probably what, Ari, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, however predates. Yeah.
So but it took me some time to realize the only way you're going to grow is by surrounding yourself with people who love this shit as much as you do. And I've had the blessing to have these guys with me, and a blessing to be able to get people who believed in what we was doing, starting with Kev, and then going to fucking Joe, and then the Daves, and then the team just grew, and our retail team, Larry, who's been there forever. But you gotta build the internal operation system and allow people to handle certain subjects. Like, we don't create job responsibilities. We start talking about logistics. To Dre's point, we operate, and once we operate, we see what problems we need to solve, and we'll hire people to solve problems. Does that make sense?
And you don't got to be the expert. You don't need to be the expert at everything. That's why there's people out there that are experts that you can hire and make your life easier. But like, good infrastructure creates good bank relationship, creates the ability to withstand a natural disaster or an economic disaster. So like, they're all linked to one another. And when all this is done and there's things on the floor that can be picked up and ran with, it's those that have the sound infrastructure, that give them the good bank relationship, that are going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that do exist.
Did we answer your question at all? Did we answer your question at all?
Definitely, man. That was a lot of game. I definitely soaked that up, and I'm sure the rest of the listeners soaked that up as well. That was beautiful. Thanks.
No, 100%. Yo, bro, it's good seeing you, and I love the hoodie.
Appreciate it, man. Good seeing you.
Dave, who we got up next? Or did you mentioned that we had questions around COVID. Did we properly address those questions? Are people still on that topic? And if so, do you want to let someone in who wants to discuss it?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on what I think everybody's general question was. More specifically, I think we can kind of come back and get to some more specific questions regarding people's specific situations, in this climate. One point that you said that was important, I think, for all of us to remember is no one's really operated in this climate before. So we can all find comfort that we're all together in this uncertainty, right? No one's made a decision in this climate before. So no one, no matter your experience or lack thereof, this is unprecedented. So we can all kind of make confident decisions in that space together. Moving on, we got a question from Cameron Hooks. His question's on mentorship.
What's up, Cameron?
What's going on, bro? I appreciate this.
What's good with you? Where you from?
Chilling. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, bro.
Okay.
But I live in New York right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I actually had a question about mentorship. I don't know if you're familiar with Soul Classics, but Deontay was at one point in time my mentor, and he had put me on a lot of game, and he was always telling me that I needed a mentor. So I was just asking y'all, what is the importance of that? Have y'all seen that to be important in y'all's journey as far as owning a business?
Well, the honest to God truth is, the reason this platform exists is this was my mentorship. I got more information from the person who invested in me much is on this call, minus Hutch, because he just don't do faces on screen, so I'm not shocked that he's not. Hutch is on the screen. Hey, somebody bring Hutch on. Somebody just said Hutch was on the screen. Yo, Dave, pull Hutch on. I don't want to put his whole government on because people will kill me, but bring Antoine Freeman on the screen.
Oh, it's bruh.
It's on his bruh. But let me go back to what I was saying. Like, these dudes invested in me when I was a youngin' coming off the corner, and I didn't know shit. But the reason why is because they was from the same corners, and everybody else was kind of like intimidated by how I moved. I didn't realize it though, because I was in my own skin, right?
That diamond rope with the cross on it.
Get out of here, Frank.
Hung low that one.
But mentorship is very important, but the tough part about it is actually gaining access to it. So the reason this platform exists is to give the access to mentorship. Because the truth is, when you hit somebody up on DM and ask them, can you mentor them? That person's thinking like, I got so many different responsibilities, so it's tough for me to do a one-on-one mentorship when I have responsibilities to a team of Dre, the foundation got 50, 100 employees. Joe from Whitner's probably got 25, 30. Our team, there's 200. So it's hard for me to do personal one-on-one mentorships, but what I can do is devote an hour, 2 hours a week, a month to get out into these cities and find people who need to jump over some hurdles and give them the game. But mentorship is beyond important, because if you don't know that there's a pothole and you step in it, you can step in it and kill yourself, and your opportunity could have been one step beyond that pothole, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Does that answer your question, bro?
For sure, definitely. I appreciate that.
And if you're looking for that, this is what we're here for, bro. Our job is to continue to grow this platform and give you a space where you can come in and ask questions that they can get answered to the best of our ability, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you got any other questions for us?
Actually, I do, to be honest with you. Because I know you talked about essentially your demeanor, right? And that was a conversation I had with a couple cats that's in this industry that was just saying that a lot of people are often reluctant to interact with people that may look like me and you or walk or talk.
Hold on. Let me slow it down and back you up. Say it clearly, man. You can say it. Like people are sometimes intimidated by black people. Call
right.
a spade a spade.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
Yo,
exactly.
bro,
Like that's what it is.
listen, man, this is the advice that I'm gonna give you. You gotta continue to be you and walk your journey. I'm here to try to knock down walls from you. Not just me, we're all here to try to knock down these walls for you. And listen, so you know, even for me and all of us, all the black men on the screen, our struggle and journey is still hasn't gotten any easier as we move forward, but we're gonna still keep taking steps forward. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you want it, take it, yo. And you know how we come up. Ain't gonna let nobody take nothing from you. So if you want something, yo, anything you want, step into it. And we here to support you.
Absolutely.
That's a fact. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, bro.
No doubt.
Well, thanks, Cameron. That's powerful. Frank, that's powerful. You want to talk about that, man, navigating these hurdles in these rooms, in these boardrooms where your appearance may be a stumbling block for some people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, my journey has been, you know, very, very, you know, complex. I would think just starting out, you know, at Wish and on the side of being in specialty boutiques, you know, and being a buyer and seeing that and building these relationships, you know, with Dre, Ari, Hutch, you know, Jay, you know, Joe, like, I mean, it's been a wonderful journey, man. Without them, you know, again, going back to that piece of relationships and, you know, building up one another, I wouldn't be who I am today. You know, they gave me a chance early on. Yeah, man, I think, you know, it's definitely something, mentorship is definitely something you need, especially when you know, you can't do it by yourself. You can't, you know, it's a lot of ideas and a lot of things that you think you're doing right, but until you talk to like your mentors and see it from a different view, I mean, it's many times people on this call have chewed me out or saying like, yo, you bugging, but you know, that helped me for later on, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that navigation and kind of learning and bouncing ideas off each other, I think what's helped me is seeing other people's perspective on situations, you know, and it definitely takes a team. It definitely takes a village. And I'm just really thankful for a lot of people on the call, JJ Atienza, and, you know, a lot of other people who's helped me kind of navigate through that.
Talk about who JJ is, because he's been hiding there, and JJ was a big part of the journey with Jordan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that team that came together when there was that inevitable run of well, we knew what would happen when it came together, but
right.
maybe bring JJ in to talk about some of that because he
was JJ
definitely help you navigate that corporate setting. JJ,
yeah,
you in there? Nope. Let me see. Maybe he'll pop in.
Well, JJ was a product line manager, you know, for Energy Group, and I mean, his role is so important to, you know, the whole team. You know, besides, you know, design and, you know, directors, you know, Jimo Wong, you know, but I mean, just to have the vision and storytelling.
Oh,
you know,
somebody got to unmute JJ's there. Somebody got to unmute JJ. Dave, can you unmute Jeff Atienza? He's muted.
What's happening, fellas, ladies? Yeah, so I work at Nike. Used to be in Jordan. Lots of great questions. I think the number one thing I wanted to call out is for y'all just to keep that passion with what you've been doing and where you want to get to. You know, I've been in this industry for 20 years, spent 10 years in video games, and the last 10 years at Nike, 7.5, 8 of them in footwear. But I think it all starts with all the guys that are talking this passion and belief in yourself. And I've seen that through everyone that's been successful and made it, is that, yeah, just knowing where you want to get to and sticking with it. I think the question around mentors is great. I think I would just add to that is have multiple mentors, not just one, but two, or three or four, and also from different industries and different walks of life that can give you different perspective. I think that's really important too. Yeah, keep the questions coming. What else did you want to touch on, Frankie?
No, I mean, I think that's perfect. I mean, I think Jay was talking more so like about the journey of like how we, you know, got to where we got to, and like kind of just that storytelling.
Let me say it more clearly, JJ. Put Frank on the spot a little bit. Man, Frank's crazy ass when he was in that building. How many times did you have to talk him off a ledge because he came from outside of the corporate walls into the corporate walls? How many corners did you have to take him in
I
time?
see Pete shaking his head over there. Stop shaking your head, Pete.
But I think that goes back with what Jay said earlier about being yourself.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
And don't change who you are. I think the question about, being Black or being a person of color in a corporate environment or, this industry is an important one. And just that if you're not authentic to yourself and you're not authentic to the product you're making, people are going to see through that. And people are going to call BS and people are going to see through you. And I think the way that Frank was able to be super successful in a corporate environment was he was just authentic to himself, the communities that he was representing, the people he was representing, the storytelling he wanted to tell, and he didn't take no for an answer. He kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But I think that goes back to having those mentors and those people that believe in you, that see your vision, that then are going to buy in. All you need is a couple wins, right? I think Jay said up at the beginning, you just need that one person to believe in you. Once you get the one person to believe in you or those couple wins, then everyone else will get on board.
You start to catch a rhythm. Like
absolutely.
Like anything else, once you catch a hot streak, you catch a hot streak. And then once you catch a rhythm, more people buy into it.
I don't think it's not only just like buying into it. It's like you look at a Joe Freshgoods who won against the grain at an All-Star, event where it's usually, dominated by a Nike or a Jordan, and he went the other route, and it's no doubt that, ever since I've known Joe, how he's just moved authentically. I mean, the dude got his own Snapple. Like, who has their own Snapple?
Let's keep it funky.
He did it in Chicago, nonetheless, with New Balance.
And exactly. think of it this way, but that was a long time coming. Like that's the other part. Like this is an instant success. We've been doing this shit for a long time. I've been in it since 2005. Joe, no one knows that Joe was at Leaders when Virgil was at Leaders and Vic was at Leaders and everything was happening. Ty was at Leaders. These dudes been talented. They've been
before Leaders. They were at the joint Corey had before that.
Yeah. So before
Sportswear.
Yes.
Crew, yeah.
So before dudes had the opportunity, dudes I do this shit for the love. It ain't about money. It damn sure ain't all about money, or I wouldn't go at it this hard. It's just for the love. Gotta be for the love.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think after this, like you said earlier, nobody's been in this situation before, but I know, when we make it through it, it's just gonna be a boom of just like ideas and a boom of like product that I know that's gonna be just like incredible.
Resilient, man. Listen, I say it again. Cornbread and chitlins. That comes from nothing. Like, yo,
never get the credit for making a McNugget.
Nothing, baby. Like, so at the end of the day, man, this ain't about nothing. Guess we can sell some sneaks.
Yeah.
Nah, but I do want to say one thing. It's interesting what Frank was talking about. And granted, this is completely different than what happened in 08, 09. But I was actually having a conversation with Ari earlier today, talking about what happened in 08, 09 when we had the mortgage collapse. And you saw what happened. That was a reset in the industry. So, and I know there's some guys.
Let me jump in there. And you know what was born out of that reset? Social Status, I'm a Meniere, Flavor Factory. I was Flavor Factory at the end, if you remember that.
You're still in my phone is Flavor Factory. Shit.
Yes.
Still at my phone.
Exactly. So what was born out of that was Social Status and I'm a Meniere. So to your point, like, yo, a lot of different things is going to be born out of this. Dave, do we got anybody else? We got anybody else who got questions in the queue? I want to make sure we're good.
Yeah. I'm just want to kind of synthesize. This was some great thoughts that you guys bounced around. And thank you for that. What I'm hearing collectively from all of you guys is definitely a strong sense of community and how you guys all link together and create your motivation from each other. Definitely an unyielding passion for what you're doing. Otherwise, why are you in this? And the tenacity and the persistence. Everyone here has a backstory and a lot of failures that they've overcome to be here where they are right now. So thank you for sharing all of that with us. Next question is coming in from Blair Caffey.
Well,
Blair, what up?
What's going on?
What's good with you, bro?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much, Frank. What's going on, bro?
What's good, Sam?
Yeah, James, appreciate you doing this as always, man. You know, so I was just having a conversation with Frank the other day, just about some of the impact on the brand and brick and mortar, just in this whole new COVID-19 situation. Like you guys said, this is something that you know, no one has ever dealt with before. I'm curious, like, what were some of the things that you did to financially prepare?
You said to financially prepare for it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if you wasn't already prepared for it when you came, there wasn't going to be much more preparing for it. So for me, our company is 100% owned by me. So what that means for me is I can't fuck up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so behind me, there's nothing. Like, yeah, I can go get a bank loan and yeah, I can come, but I got 200 people who depend on me to have my shit together 100% of the time, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I keep saying it, the only thing I could do is ever give you my experiences. And my experiences has always been like, yo, if we all coming up together and I continue to grow something in order to save this thing that's being grown, it's going to require more resources. So the bigger we grew, the more I saved. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not just for COVID-19, but for anything. So the first thing that I'd done when I seen it coming was ask myself, we ready? Like I had to sit down and talk to myself and have a conversation with me and say, yo, we ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
We good.
Nah.
Does that make sense? So
nah, that does.
It's about the power of preparation, bro. Not just for COVID-19, but for everything. You got to be prepared. You got to prepare yourself for everything. You got to ask yourself at all times, what do you need to be spending your resources on, and who's your backing? If you got family that got billions, then you don't got to be as worried as me. But my family, we from Whitaker, we from the projects. I don't got no backing. So the only people I can count on is these dudes on the screen and other people that I call as my friends, that I call my friends, but I can't put our company burdens on them and can't go to them hat in hand. So I got to be responsible when times are good to prepare when times aren't. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what, like, if you could go a little bit deeper into like, what did that savings strategy look like when things were going up? Like, what were you? And I know that's going to vary for different companies and different organizations, but I'm just curious on what was your thought process on saying, hey, this is how I'm gauging what should be going out versus what I should be stashing in the back.
So for me is save 100% of the time. Like Ari's on the screen, and me and him always laugh about this. It's a personal joke that me and him got with. But
I know what you're about to say.
and I can't say it because you don't want anyone to take it.
Right.
But all of my friends are laughing because they know my attitude around saving, right?
Your last name.
There's things that I'm willing to spend money on, right? But once again, when I jumped off the porch and got into this game, the one thing that I seen Hutch and Dre and Ari and Daniel do at the foundation, because them is the dudes who was there for me most, right? And a lot of Hutch. And if you know Hutch, you know this dude still got the penny he got from 6th grade. So he's always instilled in me when it came to this business that you got to have your own back. So for me, saving meant build a business diligently, right? Understand where our streams of income are coming in from. Nurture those things so we can continue to grow them. But once we get the fruits from that investment, make sure we save a large portion of those fruits so we're ready to either A, invest back into the business, or B, save. And then after you do those two things, you know, I might buy a little watch, buy a little art, you know what I'm saying? But I got to do a lot more saving than I do watch buying and art collecting. Right. But I love my art. Does that make sense?
Nah, that's a fact, man. I appreciate that, bro.
And listen, bro, this goes in every principle of your life, just not with running a business. It starts with your personal financial statement. You got to understand your personal financial statement and the personal budget for your life, because if you don't, you'll always be lopsided. There's a ton of people out here on Instagram and doing on Instagram and TikTok or whatever in social media. Everybody's stunting, but no one's saving. Listen, when you see me, I'm doing a lot of saving, and I don't necessarily care about the stunting, but I don't think what we doing look that bad. Does that make sense?
Nah, that's a fact, man. I mean, I've tried my best to make it a rule, like to save at least like 30% of everything that I got coming in. You know what I'm saying? And go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you this. If you don't have financial backing in lieu of family, in lieu of trust, in lieu of a bank relationship,
yeah,
save as much as you possibly can if you want to grow.
Yeah.
You have to be able to invest in yourself. If you can't bet on yourself, ain't nobody gonna bet on you.
Facts.
Make sense?
That's a fact. I appreciate it, man.
I no doubt, bro. Dave, what we got, boy?
Art is the next great segue into our next question coming from one of our own. We got one from Tara Faye, talking about the overlap between art and fashion.
Tara, what up?
Hi, can you see me?
Yeah, I'm about to see you when you hit that video link.
Hi.
What up? What's good with you?
Hanging in there in the house with the kids.
Man, listen, same. What you got?
So yeah, can you talk about your influence, or rather the influence of art in streetwear, and sort of like what's that become and what are your thoughts on it?
I think when you start looking at the influence of art in streetwear and the crossroad between fashion, art, fashion, lifestyle, fashion, and everything, right? Obviously, the biggest example of that is cause, right? Like obviously, there's a million other artists. There's Nina Chanel. There's Hebrew Brantley, but the cause is the best example of what's happening, of the connection between art and streetwear. I think watching his meteoric rise and is example of the power of our culture, because the same guys who used to collect sneakers at 19 are now 30 and 40 years old, and our interest hasn't changed from sneakers, but we've gotten more sophisticated as we've done better in life, and we want to collect things that we value that also appreciate. So I think because of that, you're seeing a huge push towards art by the same people who used to collect sneakers at a very young age. If that makes sense. And
they're from the same time period as the artists that are popping and cross over into fashion, right? Like Cause was a sneaker collector too while he was coming up and was down with Chris and all these other guys that are dominating the culture. Same with Futura, right? You know, he was part of the culture, an artist, and now he's crossed over every genre from cars to sneakers to art.
Tara, does that answer your question, or did I miss something?
No, it answered it pretty well. Do you think it's possible to be a hype beast for art?
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
does it depreciate the value of the art? Like I want Cause less because it's so coveted, you know?
Yeah, well, like anything else, right? The second somebody there's the things that we all love, right? And the second you see everybody start running towards the thing that you love, you start loving something else, right? When it comes to collecting, right? You don't want to see everybody wearing the thing that you were on before everybody else was on it, right? Once they all start getting on it, you want to get off of it and move to something else.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nina Chanel. Watch everybody jump on it.
Watch out now.
I love
jewels.
Continue
Dropping jewels. They go to free game.
Nina, shout out to Nina. Shout out to
They go to free game.
You know, it's a lot of people that have been in this thing, and you're going to watch them grow. And the power of, like I said earlier, man, our culture has a lot of power. Make sense?
Yeah.
You got anything else for me? And so everybody knows, Tara's on our team, and she's going to be leading Be Social in Pittsburgh. So these sessions in Pittsburgh, they're going to be able to hit Tara up for these sessions in Pittsburgh coming very soon. We're actually working on that built out as we speak. Make sure you kill it, Tara.
And I struggle with that too. It's like I like the fact that I got something to call my own and you ain't really up on this yet. You know, we've all heard that line, right? I think what's comforting for me is the chase. There's always that newness to go and find out about. There's that new aha moment that we always are in it for. And so, you know, long live that aha moment around the corner that I don't know about yet. That's what keeps it.
Yeah, right. The cool thing, the true, real cool thing is the thing you discover on your own. Anna Parks. I walked into a dinner that I was at to support another artist whose name I won't say, and it was at an art school, and we all went. You know, people who had an eye for art end up going to go, or we all end up at one booth buying this one artist, and we've watched this artist Anna Parks, who's still in school right now, go from being a student to one of her works winning a global award and going on tour around the world. Those are the moments to me. To me, I was on, now I don't want to turn this to I was on. I don't want to sound like that guy. But the key is having an eye and seeing something that you believe in and believing in it, even if no one else does, if that makes sense. And to me, that's the beauty of art.
Well said. Our next question is coming in from Michael Baker. Got a question on storytelling.
What's up, Michael?
How you guys doing?
Yo.
So,
What's up?
man? Coming in from LA, spent some time in Chicago for a couple years.
I'm sorry, Mike. I was trying to get one of the stories up. You said you from Chicago, spent some time in Chicago.
I'm from LA, lived in Chicago for a little bit. I worked with Limitless for a couple years, and then came back home. So I was like, just some of the things I worked on, like when it comes to storytelling, be it through product, experiential marketing, you know, brick and mortar stores, like how do you remain true to our culture without watering down that message? And I took some notes. I think JJ and Frank kind of hit on it a little bit, and James you as well, because like I said, I've been in those meetings where we're pitching to the client, and it's like, hey, we want to touch community, we want to touch the people. And, you know, for me, sometimes only being the only black man from an agency standpoint, like
100%.
this ain't coming off real, you know? And I remember working with you for Travis Scott, you know, just some of the ideas that we got to work. And luckily, like I said, working with Josh is in a good position with Jordan in the Central. So I just want to know from you guys, you know, when it comes to that, how do you remain true to what the messaging is without like watering down the aspect of what you're trying to get across? Because that's what I've dealt with a lot, bro. Dealing with the agency side, Frank, we've been at stations, seeing things like
exactly.
I want to know I really haven't had a chance to have this conversation because I've always been on. I'm from the agency, so I have to kind of deal with what the brand's saying, and so with this being open forum, I kind of just want to get you guys ideas because I'm fighting myself internally all the time when it's coming out with ideas that, yo, I'm trying to do something that's for us, but y'all shooting it down because it might come off as too gritty, too hard. But this is what the people who are spending the money buying the product want. You know,
right.
So I want to know how creatively how that works for you guys in all aspects.
Man, bro, for me, I do exactly that. I do exactly. I mean, if you remember what we went through for that Houston project, it was Houston, right?
Yeah.
I specifically. I'm a pit bull when it comes to my shit. Like I'm going to make sure that we do what's right for our business first. Like nothing else matters to me. I'm never going to give up my integrity for a sale because there's going to be a ton more business I can get, but I can't get my integrity back. Does that make sense? So the brands that get it understand that, right? And the people who last long in these brands understand that. I don't want to pick on Jim because he's been quiet. Is Jim unmuted? We got my man Jim and Fuso from Adidas. We always have these conversations about standing up for the kid the right way. And I think what you're talking about is how do you not water down your message and always stand up for the kid the right way? Jim, what's your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, man, whether you're on the agency side or you're in a big corporation, you're always selling, or a small boutique, you're selling to somebody. So, you know, as we've all been saying, find those mentors, find those advocates that can believe and buy into the vision, but also you gotta do your job and bring the facts to the table. The days of just gut instinct and emotions winning battles, that's kind of old way of doing business. The data, the science, like there's ways of looking at pitches and information differently these days. And I think these new generations, you guys are tapped into a whole new way of operating. And that's the piece. That's the piece that the executives, they're gonna respond to that, whether it's a client or someone internally. But you got to be passionate. You got to work hard, like everyone's saying on this call. But at the end of the day, try to get those advocates that understand the vision.
And listen, you gotta, and I don't want to just throw Jim out there. What Jim has been able to do from a business perspective, when you're talking about fighting against something, the business the Yeezy business that we see today. Let's not think about what we see Yeezy as today, but Yeezy is day one, and the discipline that it took to help Adidas understand how rooted he was in street culture and how important it was to keep that integrity. The reason I looped Jim into this question is because Jim was the main communicator, one of the main communicators back to Adidas, saying, hey, this is important that we keep the integrity of this product, because if we don't keep our integrity, we have nothing. Does that make sense? And that's one of the main things that me and Jim always connect on. It's always about integrity. You don't get more. It's not something you don't have an unlimited amount of it. Every time you sell out, you're chipping at your integrity. So for me, I'm not ever fucking with mine, not when it comes to this business.
That's right.
Does it make sense?
Yeah. Well, I remember going into it. It was like, James a different beast, man. And I remember it was 10 o'clock at night and the line was still rolling in for people to buy them damn Travis Scott floors. So, the basketball court up and everything. And I'm just like,
yo,
they're still going.
Man, listen, man.
Pandemonium.
Yeah, the grind don't never stop, and you always got to stay locked in, man. And for me, it's always about doing that, and it's always about completing the job 100%. I never want somebody to walk away from our team and say we didn't do what we signed up to do and more, if that makes sense. That's always been very important to me, bro.
No, I appreciate that. And like I said, I've kind of watched what you've done, and I appreciate what you all have done. Like I said, those of you who I've known, Frank, I've met you a few times and worked with you a couple times. I just think the grind and understanding, like, the direction, like I said, that's why I look up to Joe a lot for what he's doing in Chicago, because his story is staying so authentic and it's real, and people are starting to see it. Spotify and other brands are really buying into, like, yo, we really drive the culture. If you take us away from anything, sports, music, fashion, there is no culture.
100%. 100%. You have to. The one thing, and I'm going to be clear in that. I've said that many times over, man. We have to do a better job unifying and owning our voice. Because without it, we're nothing. Our collective voice means everything.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Dave, what you got for us?
The next one is going to come from Surreal Styles. He's got a question about time management.
How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh man, I'm blessed.
From Tampa, Florida, owner of a company in Debonair District. Dave has supported us for a long time, so I give a shout out to Dave for real. One of the guys who came to a lot of the events, that were in the industry when a lot of other guys weren't coming out. We do screen printing in Tampa, and he even threw some contracts our way, so totally indebted to Dave for a lot of different opportunities for sure. The question definitely is into time management and various projects. I know one thing for us is we'll have a retail function, and then we're focusing on that and branding and storylines and things of that nature. But then we also screen print ourselves in-house, and that has its own host of clientele and how we market that whole business. So I know you have a bunch of different projects, obviously, right? So how do you balance your time in between your different projects, and then what tools do you use to help you?
Tools, shout out to my team.
Yeah.
My hard drive is over here to my left. My external hard drive is over to my left. Kev, he's who I work with day to day, and I personally don't stop. for me, I'm blessed to do what I love. And I don't take for granted the opportunity that I've received to be able to do what I love. So I'm willing to go at it. And I'm willing to, the only thing that I'm willing to not sacrifice is the time with my kids and my family. Outside of that, for me, I'm all in on this shit 24/7. So first thing is first, when I'm woke, I'm working, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm on when my eyes open, and I'm off when I close my eyes. Does that make sense? Now, everybody's not willing to work that way, right? But for me, and those who know me, some know that I may overdo it, but that's what works for me. The digital tools that we use a lot to stay organized and manage our time is probably Dropbox, Slack, Zoom now. Dropbox, Slack, Zoom. We do a lot of Google meetings, and that's in a lot of planes. Besides that, it's really just taking the time to keep yourself personally organized. Every morning I write a to-do list. And on that to-do list, I put all the topics that are relevant to my life at that point. So I start off with 20 topics that are important for that day. And because I do this every day, I keep a notebook. I could go back to what I didn't do the day before, carry it over to the new day, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And with every new day, new things jump on my list, right? And I'm constantly prioritizing the things on my list. And then in the evening, the one thing I create is a follow-up list. Everybody I need to follow up with, dig into, or cut into based on things that I need to execute, because I'm a sound believer that I'm an architect of my own existence, right? I need to create my future. I've been blessed to have people around me who love me and believe in me, but if I don't push to create my future, no one else will. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
So for me, it's about personal organization, right? It's about having a great relationship with my team. And I mentioned Cav first because he was an important person for me to work with, because he was able to be close to me personally, but able to take the critique and work, but also be willing to work as hard as I do and love this shit as much as I do. So it's about surrounding yourself. And I'm saying with him because that was when we started to grow, that was one of the first key people that jumped on our team. But after that, with Joe and Dave, and I could go name 200 people, the shout out that I want to give to my team is they all buy in. And when they don't, they know what it is. If you don't buy in, you're usually gonna get kicked out. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, 100% for sure.
Does that thoroughly answer your question, or was I just rambling?
Nah, it definitely helped put it in perspective, because funny enough, I'm definitely with the notebook too, and constantly adding to it, and it's just crossing off that list. Sometimes you don't know the new area you're going into sometimes, and I think that can be where it can be a little bit difficult. So if I were to add to that, I would just say, when you start to jump into new areas, how did you just surround yourself with those people that in the area that you want to go into? Was it just $1,000 just reading different books? You know what I mean? How do you I guess navigate into new territory effectively?
Keep this in mind, bro. Sometimes you may be the new territory.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no one there to pull you in. There may be people who believe in your thought process, right? But you always got to have self-confidence to believe that you're going down the right path, and have people around you that can be thought partners with you to go down the road and at least be able to go back and forth, to throw darts at your idea, to poke holes in it, to shore it up. Does that make sense? Because sometimes when you're going in white space, a lot of what we're doing, just like COVID-19, this is white space. But I'm comfortable in this white space because I operate in it most of the time. Does that make sense? Like, one thing about me in life, I'm not looking for validation. I said the comment in an interview yesterday, I fuck with everybody, but I don't fuck with nobody. What I say when I don't fuck with nobody, you know what that means? I have to have confidence in myself to know I can move forward if no one else is around me. Does that make sense?
Yep, definitely.
So you have to understand that sometimes when you're going into spaces, there are going to be people there to help you, but sometimes you're going to have to lean on your experience in the experience of the people around you, and you got to step in on faith in your belief that you can execute.
Most definitely. I'm with that. I'm with that.
Does that make sense?
That definitely does. I thank you for answering that for me.
All right, man. Thank you for joining, bro. And once again, thank you for the support. And Dave, I like how he gave you that cheap plug, man. We love you a little more now.
There you go.
There's something to be said about rendering a good service, man. It speaks for itself.
I like that follow-up. That was good right there, man.
So with that being said, we can go on to Kenyatta. He has a question about building an experience with the customers.
Go for it. His name was Kenyatta?
Her name, yeah.
Her name, sorry.
Oh, my bad. What's up, Jason?
How's it going?
Man, bless.
Man, I'll tell you, it's a pleasure. The funny part about it is, like, I actually heard about you through working at Trophy Room. Like, when I first got here about a year ago, I was working with markets in like the store, and then just kind of just learning how it was to like being like a smaller boutique.
Yep. And shout out to little bro Marcus.
Yo,
Marcus from Trophy Room. Little bro is just killing it.
Yes, so like that was my first time ever like fully working for like a smaller boutique. Growing up in Detroit, like I worked at like the Foot Lockers and like Nike and things like that. And then we got a boutique out there called Burn Rubber.
Rick and Roll, what up?
Roll, what up?
Kinda, yeah, like it. So I actually got pretty cool with Roll. So I kind of saw what that life was like, and like, dude, I'm telling you, like I fell in love with it. And like the thing that I liked the most about it was that it was like truly genuine to the cause. Like you have like the corporate brands, and you have the people who actually have these boutiques who have their own idea, and they pave their own way in like the sneaker community or just culture in general. But my question to you is just like for someone who's trying to, I guess, gain experience and just trying to find my niche into like that market, like I guess what would be the best way to start out? Would you recommend like an internship, or would you kind of just recommend me just trying to work at as many different boutiques or places like that and like general, and just try to pick up as much information as I can?
You gotta play for a team that you respect.
Right.
Okay.
Because like you just said, it's your time is at this age. If this is what you want to invest in and you want to learn, you gotta spend your time with a team that's bought in. Like the one thing I always tell my team, right? Anybody on our team, your future doesn't have to always be with the Whitaker Group. Somebody on our team can come say, hey, I got admirations and I want to own a boutique, or I want to go work. Mike Seeger, who's on our call. Mike, am I allowed to put your business in? Am I allowed to just throw you out there like that?
Oh, always.
Okay, Mike is just Mike is a year ago. Me and Mike sat down, and Mike's from Charlotte. And he told me, I think he had been with us for 2 years already. He came in as a little shy dude, little snotty nose. Barely wanted to talk to anybody. And his story was he was a pre-med student who came home and told his mom he wanted to be a photographer.
Okay.
Once he came to us, he worked, and he's really fucking talented. 2 years into working with us, he came to me and said, like, yo, I believe in everything that we're building, but I've been in Charlotte my whole life, and I want to work in other parts of the world. And I said to him, like, yo, bro, thank you for saying something. Let's figure out a way to path a journey to help you get to wherever you want to go. And whatever we can do to help you get there, please let me know. So for the last year, Mike worked on building projects for us, and also leveraging that to build his reputation in the industry to be able to take his next step. And because we had the level of communication, and because we had a high level of communication, I respected how it was moving. A year later, he lands a job with Hasnab, and he starts in a month, if that makes sense.
Oh,
He's going to get a chance to be able to travel around the world and do what he wants, but he's not the only one. Mikey's on the call somewhere. Shout out to Mikey. Nate's on the call somewhere.
Mikey.
Like, yo, these is all the homies that came from our team and went out to do crazy things in the world. And the beautiful part about that is now we got people from our team around the world. So when we need something, they hit us up and we hit them up. But when they see an opportunity for us, they hit us up, if that makes sense. So I say all that to say, for you, you got to join a team that's going to help you grow to become who you want to become, if that makes sense.
Yeah, now just to elaborate on that a little bit more. Now, like, I'm all for that hands down, but I mean, from where I'm from, people don't really typically hand you stuff. And if you can't necessarily find anybody that's, you know, down to help you out, at that point, you got to kind of create your own envisionment, right? So if you can't find a team, what would be the steps you would like kind of take to create your own?
Create your own. Like the first step to start is start. And here, I give you all the credit in the world because you're spending your free time here. And this is what this, I'm gonna repeat again, this is what this platform is about. This platform is about networking with all the people on the screen. This platform is about, and what we'll figure out how to do is to figure out how to create a chat to get people more closely connected so you can use the people who are attending. We can use this as a social circle to help network with different people in the chat to help yourself grow, if that makes sense.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Joe. Go for it.
Okay, so hang out with us, help me work. I used some of these kids, but they used me. One of the kids came to me in high school. Now she's the lead designer at Rude. You get what I'm saying? Like she hung out with me when she was in high school. A bunch of kids flunked out. Now they're musicians. Like shit is crazy, man. We can help. It's just like James said, somebody got to group it together and come in here and ask the questions. You know, a lot of us together can go a far way for anybody that needs some advice, you know?
And bro, and the other thing is you're right. Normally people don't want to help people. And normally there isn't people who are willing to go out on faith. But once again, this free game platform exists for just that. Free game, free advice, free vibes. So obviously the pandemic forced us to have to take this global because usually I'm a guy who loves to show up brick and mortar. So if we can't get to you, please continue to come here and invest your time, and we're willing to help. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
So as you start your journey and go on your journey, we're willing to help you answer questions and share our experiences to help you grow.
Oh, I definitely appreciate it.
Well, James, let me chime in real quick. You know, I just wanted to add, you know, when you were talking about the people on your team that have gone on to do things, that's the same way we've been at the foundation. You know, we've had a ton of team members that started off as interns that are now brand owners, musicians. They own their own agencies. I mean, and you know, we've always had a track record of building our team within. And, you know, and we're all about entrepreneurship and growth, whatever path people are on. You know, I always look at things, I always say you have soldiers, you have lieutenants, and you have generals, right? In every organization. And, you know, and if you have the soldiers, they want to work and they want to be a part of that team. But it may not be management. They just want to be, a lot of time, they just want to be the best team member. Then you have lieutenants, you know, people that want some responsibility. Maybe they want some management, but they don't want to control everything, but they want more, right? And then you got people that are generals. And if a general isn't stimulated in your organization, they're going to go be a general for somebody else or ultimately be a general for themselves. And in many situations, they, you know, you can see that general mentality in people. So we know that them in our organization is just a pit stop on their journey. So our responsibility to them is just to help them gain and learn as much knowledge as possible while they're there and be a support system in the future. And we all just work together. And, you know, and that's the way this system works. And it's continued to work that way, you know, and then sometimes we don't even know we got the generals. We've had people that were in the organization who shock us to this day because they just became something else. But that came from them being in an organization that allowed them to find themselves and become who they wanted to be, right? And, you know, so it's all about the journey. And like James said, it's about, you know, surrounding yourselves with the right team and being in the right organization, right?
I also think something like Kenyatta, when you talk about building a team or not having a team around you, and James said it, the only way to start is start. Almost like every successful person didn't have backing and didn't come into this thing with a group of people. They just like had an idea or a vision, had no clue how they were going to pay for it or pay their rent and deal with it. And like, you can plan and get experience and read books and do all those things and be educated is powerful, but none of it prepares you for what really goes on. And like only experience can prepare you for like the turbulence of owning a business or running a team or building a team. But if you're passionate and you believe in your vision, the team will form around you because they'll be drawn to the same things that are driving you. So like James said, he started with him. Now we got 200 people. As he became successful, people were drawn and started knocking on the door. How can I get in? What can I do? I'll work for free. I'll come after school. Most people don't start with a group. Most people don't start with a ton of money. And most people don't start with some like massive plan or a tremendous amount of experience. They just trust their gut and go after it.
I got a GED.
There you go. And he rich.
Big rich. Big rich.
Let me hold something, Joe.
Hey, wait.
COVID got me fucked up, man. I'm hurt.
Real quick.
Hey, I learned a
my
long
whole
time
last
ago to
thing.
hold 2 years worth of money. I learned a long time ago. Have 2 years worth of money saved.
That's real tough. 2
years worth at least. That to answer the guy's question from 6 questions ago. At least save 2 years worth.
Yeah, 100%.
Word.
Yo, bro, thank you for joining us. And remember, man, we're gonna continue to work to build this platform. It's not perfect, but our goal is just to give the world the information, man, and do it from our heart. So I appreciate you coming and showing up and investing your time.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
What you got for us, Dave?
All right, next up, we got Brent Evans. Got a question about saturation in the marketplace.
Oh, this is a good one. What you got, Brent?
Can you guys hear me okay, or what's going on?
We can hear you. What's up with you, bro?
Okay, so I kind of am starting my own thing. I'm kind of planning my attack. I just got a question. Is hard work and you're being yourself the only thing that'll make you stand out in the saturated market?
Yeah. Oh, Frank, go ahead. You got something.
I mean, I think that's the foundation of it all, but what can you bring that's different, you know? I think having the grassroots, you know what I mean, and being true to yourself, but there's so many brands that, if you look back on a lot of these brands where it's breakthrough, like people didn't understand it, you know what I mean? They didn't understand kind of where they were going or what their visions were, but now when you look ahead or, now that they're successful, and it comes in different ways, but I think also being just different, just being you, but also being different. I think that's the other ingredient to it, like we said before, people can kind of read through BS, but like if you have, something that the game's never seen before, or, that kind of raises a flag and people are like, damn, well, this is kind of a different thing. So let's see what this is about. But you always have to deliver. I feel like, people can pick that apart if you don't deliver.
That part. That part you can't miss.
You have to deliver.
And here's another part. I'm gonna go back to the integrity piece, right? We got 4 boutique platforms, right? And for us, we're our biggest critic. And for us, it's just not about selling people shit. It's about the things that we have having meaning to other people. I wear I'm a Meunier t-shirt or a social status t-shirt, APB t-shirt or a Prosper t-shirt every day. Because if I'm not passionate about what we got, I don't expect no one else to do. But I also don't put it out there every day for the rest of the world to have. It has to be meaningful to people. So I'm not just trying to get out there and peddle goods for sale just to be selling something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have to be intentional about building the value in which you stand for and making other people understand that value and what it means. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So what's your unique proposition? What makes you special? That's what you really means. Does that make sense? Because yes, it says, you said the two things you said to start the conversation was being you and working hard. But being you means a lot. And there's a lot of depth to being you. Does that make sense? And for some people, commercialization just means a money grab, right? It doesn't mean anything about integrity. And some people get into this business just because they see the bright lights flashing, all the things. They're not committed to building something special in something special, meaningful, and that's going to be able to sustain time. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Does that answer your question? And you got any follow-ups for us?
No, I just really understand what you're saying. Like, I mean, I only wear my own brand stuff around, and people always ask me like, where can I get that? And I just have that. I got that planned out so that way people are like ready when I want to open my stuff. So I totally dig what you're saying there.
100%. And then scale when necessary, bro. Like obviously continue to learn, and once you get your moment, seize your moment. And to Frank's earlier point, once you get your moment, make your moment forever.
Okay.
Deliver.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir. I got you. Thank you.
All
I
right,
appreciate you guys.
What you got for me? What you got for us, Dave?
Thanks, Brent. Next up, Dominique Kaiser. He's got a technical question. A question about manufacturing and supply chain integrity.
I'm out.
Hey, hello. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
What's good with you, bro?
Not much, man. I was just wondering, I'm really big on design and having my pieces really look a certain way.
Okay.
That's very important to the customer. I think it's very important to the game, not just wanting just to sell certain things. So how do you go about starting the relationship with the manufacturers, and then how do you keep that going? And what is probably one of the first steps in order to get into that part?
Yo, Pete.
Here, what up?
Here you go.
Man, it's an interesting question. I think there's a few different parts, right? I think one is meet as many people and manufacturers that you can meet with, right? You line yourself to the adjacencies and brands that you look at, and you say, okay, I like their quality, I like this. If it's a certain type of French terroir, you just got to look around, right? And then you figure out the source, and then try to figure out how to get in front of people. The biggest thing with manufacturing is that everyone's going to tell you they could do something, but not everyone could deliver, right? So you have to, because everyone's going to want your money, right? But when it comes time for them to deliver and deliver on time and be consistent, it just takes time. So for me, with manufacturing and working with some of the people, I work with the same people I've been working with for the past 10 or 12 years, because I trust them, right? But you both take a step in regards to a trial, and then you just take that, and then when it starts to build that relationship and you earn that trust, then you kind of build upon that, right? But with meeting one person, you'll meet another person, and there's a lot of people on this call. Some people could tell you where to get the best T-shirt. Some people could tell you where to get the best hoodie. But again, it's just about networking and being around the people and trying to talk to as many people as you can.
And the reason I put Pete to that question, because Pete, give him some of your history, man, and that you'll understand why I pushed the question to Pete.
Right now I work at Jordan Brand, right? The apparel design director. Before that, my very first gig was working with Dre at Azure and Hutch. That was, I don't even know how many years ago.
They showing their age.
People were just like, Azure, what's that?
Exactly. I mean, bro, but look, this is why I'm gonna be real, right? Because I started there, and then I started working for Rock, and then that's when I first started to get my experience of going to Asia and overseas and really learning manufacturing, right? So I had to work every day and crazy just so that I could get that opportunity to go to China and learn the manufacturing process. And then you start meeting people, right? And then you go to Japan, then you go to Tokyo, then you start going to places like LA, and you start meeting all these people. So, after Rock, and I started my own consultant company, manufacturing company. I got into screen printing business, my own. We just did it all, and you just met people along the way. And like I said, I keep those relationships close to me, man, because a lot of people on this call, we've been doing it for many years together, I think.
Right. And once again, not to keep that's the reason why, that's the best part about us all being in, right? Because free game has always been something that we've done in physical spaces, but Now, when you bring technology and you get to bring all these people from around the world, an accumulation of all the experience and talent, like I could tell you a lot about it, but when I have a production question, I usually call Pete. Does that make sense? Like, so the benefit of him being here is to be able to answer that question for you one for one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely, man. It makes perfect sense. You always want to have somebody that does something, because can't everybody do the same thing? It don't
Already made that point earlier today. Yes,
Yeah,
there's always going to be
everybody do
someone.
the same thing.
Yes.
Right.
Word.
And ask questions, man, because you never know who does what, right? So you may ask a question and someone may be like, hey, well, I know this person that does this. And then it opens up a door you didn't even know was there, right? So conversations like this just help lead into other roles that you may not even be expecting.
Word, man. Hey, I really appreciate all you fellas, man. For real. This is
Man, thank you for investing your time, bro.
For sure.
Hey,
Oh, by the way, Pete, that's 18 years right there. I just thought about it. It's 18 years, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, I remember driving down to VA, meeting you, bro. I didn't know that was 18 years ago. Shit.
You just got your learner's permit, Pete. You were 15.
Pretty much.
Hey, you look good, though, man. You look good, man.
Yeah, what else you got?
Next up, we got a Darius. He's got a question about philanthropy.
What's good, bro?
Yo, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Man, blessings, blessed.
Man, what's up, Pete? Shout out to Pete. My name is Adarius. I'm living up in Beaverton, originally from the Bay Area, from Oakland. Shout out Oakland. And just really wanted to, first, thank y'all for doing this. This is super dope. But second of all, just really wanted to start to understand what are some of the best ways to really practice redistribution within your business model. I think philanthropy is such a big word these days, and giving back is such a huge topic, but it never hits my community. It always kind of skirts around it. So I want to figure out the inner workings of how businesses are thinking about giving back and what that business model looks like.
The one thing about it is, like everything else, right? It's about being a creative entrepreneur. It's about you thinking about the void that's in the market for that and just filling it. That's why we all exist. We all individually thought about at some point in our life a void that was in a marketplace, and we filled the void. For me personally, those voids are the connections, the community connections that each of our boutiques have back to the community. For Amamaniere is Hand Wash Cold. For Social Status is Be Social, which this platform is a part of Be Social. For APB, it's APBU. And for Prosper, it's just being in the streets because we just in Jersey City, right? So you have to look at where you're at and what you want to accomplish. Then look at the resources around you, and also look at the people who you want to give back to and who's servicing those people. Because the people who servicing the people you want to give back to have a responsibility to those people. Does that make sense? And they may be aware that they have a responsibility, but just don't know how to connect back to that core group. Does that make sense? So you may actually be the connector to someone who they're struggling to connect with authentically or organically. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I said all I could say is just being your creative entrepreneurial self and just connecting. Does that make sense? Like, you are probably the missing link for your community or for the people that matter to you. How can you connect your resources to the need? Does that make sense?
Definitely. Just to throw it out there, I had a pop-up fried chicken shop. It was called Ginger Fried Chicken. And we would pop up and we did this radical pay model. We did it in two different ways. One where you pay different prices depending on your race. And so that really shook a lot of people, because it was like in Oakland, it was like, yo, a lot of these people getting pushed out. How can we really redistribute the wealth in a different way? So, one, that was like really hard to overcome, because people, gave it a lot of controversy. So it just was what it was. But then we switched over to a knowledge-based pay model, which was like a trivia game. Depending on how you did on trivia, that translated into a different price that you paid for your chicken or for your meal for that day. So it really sunk in how you knew the area and the territory. So that's why I'm just really, understanding different creative ways to redistribute wealth, opportunity, knowledge, all those things.
And when you think about your pay model, right? Because your pay model has to be your pay model has to be consistent, because you need that revenue to generate and make turns to keep the business consistent. Because if the business doesn't exist, the give back can't exist, right? So you got to, in order for you to keep that business, keep that give back model, you got to keep the business consistent. So you want to think about ways that you can do both, right? But no different than anything else, take the learnings from your past experiences and invest them into the next things you want to do, and eventually you're going to catch on something that sticks.
Man, already know, brother. That's amazing.
No, bro, thank you for investing. Thank you for investing the time, bro. We appreciate you.
Word, yeah.
Yeah, we plan to go to 8:30. We at 8:45. I'm willing to. How many more questions you think we got in the queue?
Man, how much time you got? Go on.
Well, listen. Do we want to put a time out there that we're willing to go to, or we just want to keep going? I'm good. I got water next. I got water next to me. Frank is over there doing squats.
I'm free, guys. It's up. We can keep rolling then.
Let's keep pushing.
Let's go in and just call it when it calls.
Let's keep pushing.
Next up, we got Ruhama. She's got a question about the e-commerce market.
How are you, Ruhama?
Hello. I can hear you now. Sorry. Good. How are you?
Man, bless. Where you at? Where you from?
I'm originally from Ethiopia. I'm right now in New York with family.
Dope.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to start my video. Okay. Hi.
How are you?
So my question is to you, James. And for me, it's this idea of we're having this huge shift to e-commerce. So for someone who builds a community and a successful business around your brick and mortars, and when I say community, I think of like it being a safe space for people to go, to hang out, to talk. What would you say is your way of being able to re-engineer retail? Now that it's becoming a digital world, now that people are really pushing to e-commerce, how can you still maintain that value of community?
So first, I'm sorry, did you have anything else you wanted to throw at me before I go in?
No, go ahead.
No, I think first is just what I just said to the brother I was just speaking to. The first thing is making sure that the actual business model is strong, right? To make sure that our business model that brings in our core business model that brings in our revenue is strong. Because once that model is strong, it gives us the ability to start looking at what we can do to connect back to our communities that ultimately feeds us back in more revenue. Does that make sense?
True.
So once we get that established, it's stuff like this, right? Like it was immediate for us to say like, hey, we're stuck in the house. I think Dave, how long were we in the house before I eventually broke? Was it a week, 2 weeks?
It was about a week and a half.
Yeah, so after 10 days in the house, I eventually broke and called Dave at midnight. I'm going fucking crazy in here. We need to connect to people. We owe it to our community to connect. So we just literally we understood what the Zoom platform was about, and I followed the same steps that I do with everything else. It's really just about understanding what digital platforms that we can leverage and connect to keep the authenticity and closeness that we have in a physical environment, and how do we bring that element to the digital space? Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
And what you're going to see from us is we're not. I'm sitting on a call without a haircut or without, like, all those small things don't mean anything. It's more about executing and figuring out how we can connect with our core group in an authentic way. And then once we're going to take the learnings from this and just continue to scale it in different parts of our business, right? So the only way to do is to actually do, learn, and do again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So for me, I've always prided myself on being a doer and learning as we go. And as long as we don't kill ourselves in the doing, then we can keep learning. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I could sit there and say like, hey, we'll call McKinsey, get a strategy, do a lot of thinking. Fuck all of that. What I'm gonna do is think, leverage my relationship, leverage the brain trust of the people around me, do the things that matter, and be actionable in the right way and learn. And if I continue to do that, good things usually happen. That's not a technical answer, but that's the real answer.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Thank
Does it
you.
actually answer your question?
It does. It does answer my question.
Any follow-ups?
No, not as of right now. No. Thank you.
Thank you for investing the time. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Rahama. Next up, we got Evan Thompson. Evan's got a question about choosing the right opportunity.
Hey, Evan.
Hey, James, can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. And yourself?
Blessed, man. I'm blessed.
Okay, so whenever we first started, you mentioned you come from nothing, right?
Yeah.
And in a time when you come from nothing and you have nothing, and you, I actually listened to your podcast on Hypebeast, and you described where you came from. You literally had nothing. Being in the hospital, what you were going through at that time, and you decided to, jump off the porch and go a different way. You had nothing. What was the determining factor that said, I'm going to go this direction, I'm going to join this industry, because you wanted to make something else happen? What was that one thing that told you which way you were going to go?
You mean making a choice to go into fashion?
Yeah.
So for me, it's funny because somebody just asked me this earlier today. I used to, or a few days ago, within the last couple of days, I used to sit in the local store. Dre will laugh at this one because it was Dre's account. I used to sit in Mogear in Pittsburgh, where I'm from. And obviously, when we were in the streets, we would just go and shop, and you watch dudes from all over the city come in. So I was always obsessed with understanding the backside of their business, right? So at a very young age, I was always liked getting fly, always loved the commerce, and bigger than all
that
of it.
Coogee sweater.
Man, get to see. Bigger than anything, I love the connection to the people, right? And if you know me, my energy, a lot of my energy is based on you see the personalities of these dudes. This is why it's the beautiful part of having them be a part of it, is because the energy is contagious, right? I love the energy. So when I knew I needed to make a decision, I knew being in retail would be a safe space for me to be able to connect with people, connect to the community, and at the same time, get people fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Me being in Pittsburgh, I took a lot from that podcast. Yes, sir.
I missed that part. Let's get to it, baby. Go ahead,
right at the West End Bridge, fam, right inside the city.
Yeah, what up?
So as you mentioned, what you were seeing around here, the fashion wasn't really, developed at that time. And, whenever you said you were going that direction, you had nothing. And, me, that's kind of where I'm actually, I have a master's degree, I have all this and that, and I'm actually getting rid of all of it, pushing all of it to the side, because all of that's gotten me to like a glass ceiling. And all the stuff, you talk about the energy, you talk about the vision, you talked about the things that you were doing. And my degrees never really got me that, but the connections, like as you have the group of people that are on here, what made, I want that group. Like in Pittsburgh, you don't have people readily available trying to get outside the box, trying to think differently, trying to go.
That was organic.
Man, bro, listen.
That was organic, though.
And I can have a different conversation to you because we from the same space. The first thing that I'm doing is actionable, is bringing what we're doing right now, to Pittsburgh. This will be in social status in East Liberty by the time all of this is over. Our goal is to have it by the time that retail launches again, this platform will be there. So there will be a safe space for you to go in and learn and network with other people that are like you. B, I'm gonna keep it funky with you. Pittsburgh is one of the best, Pittsburgh is one of the worst cities in the country for Black people. You read the studies, the information is real. That's a tough place for us, bro. And it's a tough place to navigate. Like, yo, Dave Patterson, Dave Butler, unmute Hutch. He's muted. He's under bruh, B-R-U-H. Yo,
bruh, B-R-U-H.
I had to, it's B-R-A, Hutch got 98. It's like he got 90 warrants in 80 places. But bro, the reason why I'm being intentional about saying that to you is because me and Hutch had a lot of conversations, and in those conversations, he was level setting my anger, yo. Because coming from Pittsburgh, because we got to survive differently in that city, we got a lot of anger and a lot of different things that we go through, because to make it in that town is a lot different than making it in a lot of other towns. And you know what I mean, because you live in it, right? So for you to find this, that's why putting Be Social in Pittsburgh, and the Be Social in Pittsburgh is going to be a freestanding space. It will be in front of the retail space. It's that important because I know there's a void. I know there's a void of that there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I put my sister on the call, and like you said, the anger that comes out because of just being Black here is tough to navigate, right? And that's the thing. Like, I'm glad that, you had somebody, because, she's struggling finding people who ignite her and support her in that way. And I don't really get so frustrated because I'm constantly listening to like your content, Gary Vee. I'm constantly listening to these people who are navigating like, uncharted territories. They're constantly looking for those other frontiers. And like, I plan on getting out of here. I plan on, expanding and doing what I want to do, worldwide. But like you said, it's a tough place to be. And I just wanted to know, what was that one thing that said, hey, I can make it? And I mean, bro, being around fashion all your life, I get that.
I also knew I needed to leave that place. And I love Pittsburgh with all of my heart. But if I would have stayed, I'd probably be dead or in jail. And that's a fact. That's just the honest truth. But
I feel you.
As you continue to navigate the journey, bro, please continue to lean on us. Like, we're here, and expect Be Social to happen by the time retail fire back up, it's gonna be there for you.
Got you.
And I'll be there for a free game session before the end of the summer.
Thanks, fam. I look forward to meeting you.
Look forward to meeting you, bro.
Yeah, drop your email too, so we'll get you an invite when we open that up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Word. Next question is coming from Samir, talking about your entrepreneur journey.
Samir, what up? Did y'all unmute Hutch?
He might have dropped off. I don't see him up there no more.
Hey, did you unmute Hutch?
Yeah, I had him unmuted.
Hutch, you good? Hutch, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, good. I hear you.
Oh. There's been a sighting.
Exciting.
Speaking of helping James with his anger issues.
Come on, man.
Man, we ain't sharing those stories today, Hutch.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean,
Tell him why you mad, son. Tell him why you mad.
I've learned to rechannel my energy in positive ways, man.
James would be like, man, that dude's looking at us crazy, man. I'm gonna have to hurt somebody. I'd be like, James, he's just making a coffee, man. We in Starbucks.
I got a question while we're waiting, James. Since we are reminiscing, James, what would 2020 James Whitner say to Flavor Factory James Whitner? They could have a
Flavor Factory.
That's easy, and it's the same thing. Hutch was there, And he said the same thing. Keep going. Like, yo, well, hell, that's a better one. Hutch, what would you say to me at both times? You had to talk to me. You had to talk to me at 05. And shit, I just talked to you a couple hours ago. What's that? What is that conversation?
I think, you know,
you can't pay for POs in cash.
That's a good one. Nah, I think, and this is probably going back, you know, listening to all the questions that people have been asking. I think everything kind of starts with two things, right? One is, do you know who you are yet? Right? Once you start to figure that part out, then the next thing is, what's your goal? Because depending on your goal is there's a lot of paths to take to becoming successful or good at something, right? There's a lot of paths you can take. You know, we all got kind of different but similar stories, right? To how we got to where we got. But the one consistent thing is you got to understand what your goal is. Because depending on what your goal is and what you're really trying to do with it, that'll help determine what your path you should take. So the question always started, even, you know, and I guess, James, you can attest, every time we spoke is like, what are you trying to do? What are you hoping to accomplish? If there's if you just in it for money, then that's probably a route that you should take. If it's more about I'm trying to do something that's going to last forever, and I want to be doing this, that might be a slightly different path. So I think everything starts with that. And you know, the Flavor Factory James and the Manier James, I can't say that person changed so much in terms of what the goals are, right? The goals are always to just keep getting better and keep getting better and keep getting better. And if as long as we know that was the goal, then, you know, it's easy to kind of figure out what path we need to take.
Better said about Mr. Hutch, Dave.
Well said, bro.
Yeah, I think you're right too, Hutch, about that passion, man. Like, you know, a lot of us, again, like, you know, the goal isn't money. You know, I talk to Joe often, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's so much love for this that we live and breathe it, you know what I'm saying? So it's different, you know, when you're either working with a corporation or you're you know, it's people that just don't understand how much love it is for this, you know what I'm saying? And I think everybody on this call definitely feel the same way, you know, for sure.
James said if he's awake, he's working. If he's asleep, he's not. That's me.
That's Joe, 24/7.
Number.
1000%.
But you know me, I always say you sleep when you die.
Yes. No, and for Dre, literally, no, you mean if you ain't on, you on a flight unless you did.
We're gonna go next to Jaron. He's got a question about data collection and how to.
What's up, Jaron?
Yo, what's up, man?
That's bro.
How you feeling?
And man, no complaints on my side. That's bro.
Yeah. So my question is for you and everybody else on the call. Moving into the 21st century space, and I think because of something like coronavirus now is helping us to look at how there's a lot of virtual real estate opportunities now.
Yep.
Right. So how do you guys as independent store owners and entrepreneurs collect your data to where you can project your next moves for the next 2-3 years down the line?
It's interesting you say that, right? It's authentic connection, right?
Right.
I look at everything. Well, everybody who knows me knows that I simplify everything. It's the only way that I could think about something. Like, keep it simple. Like, no different than you would when you were a single man. If you're single or married, if you meet a girl, you collect her information. You know the relevant information around them. You know what makes people tick, right?
Right.
Just scale that way of thinking, right? Like know who your key people are and why, what makes them tick. How do you service them? What experience are they looking for? Why did they connect with you in the first place? What do they need from you? What's their future trajectory? What do they believe your trajectory is? What do they believe your trajectory is? And what do you have to offer them? You got to constantly keep asking yourself what you bring unique to the marketplace and what makes you different. Does that make sense? I've said multiple times in multiple interviews that the thing that haunts me most is the 20-year-old version of me chasing the 40-year-old version of me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for me, it's about just projecting how to get better and what does the consumer, the community expect from me, and what can I provide to add value for them to make it better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And collecting all of the information to get me there. Does that make sense? So and obviously there's a lot of programmers and digital tech guys and engineers. You know what I'll do? I get on the phone with them and say that and ask them, what do I need to do that? Does that make sense? That's when I go in and leverage people who are smarter than me in places that I can't understand, but I go in and tell them like, listen, these are our goals and this is what we want to get after. And this is how it makes sense for us. Now, what do we need? What are the things that we need to help get us there? Does that make sense?
Right.
That's how I would approach it.
James, you always say it. It's the art and the science, right? So the data collection is the science and gets you 30% of the way. And then 70% of it is the art. Like gambling. I believe when the audience is here, this is what they're going to want. And this is how they're going to want to intake it. And I hope that my guesses are right. But the math is 30% of the equation.
Yes, 100%. So it's always good. That was a good added art. It's always a blend of art and science. Always 100%. And going back to Hutch's other question about what Dave's saying, there's always a burden to always, you can't get lazy, man. The day you get lazy at home, you lose the day you get lazy is the day you die. If you want to be better, you got to do better. And if you want to continue to connect, you got to keep pushing forward, if that makes sense. And for me, I think I said it earlier in the call, I wake up every day just wanting to be better. That's the number one thing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Does that accumulation of things answer your question? You got a follow up for us?
Yeah, that definitely answers my question. And kind of just piggybacking from the conversation y'all were having previously, like I can attest to say that I met you, bro, at the Houston location, right? I walked in there, you ain't even know me. I walked there because I knew AD from Puma and Lamar, right? Blue Balance.
Yep.
And you saw me, you was like, yo, man, can I help you? Yada, yada. And I told you what I was doing. And from there, you gave me your number right there. So I can tell y'all, if he's telling you he's going to reach out to you or he's going to say something, he's going to do it. You know, and it went from me not knowing you that day to where we hosted a whole event in your store, like 2 months after that.
Bro, at the end of the day, my job is just to pay forward, bro. Like somebody had to help me. And it's a blessing to have some of those people on the call on this call with me today to be able to share the information and for us all to then go and help somebody else, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Hey, also, I wanna add one more thing for you, Jaron. You know, I always say as soon as you're irrelevant, you're out of business. And when you're talking about keeping your mind sharp, data, knowledge, you got to pursue that constantly, because just like James said, what he thinks about is 20-year-old chasing 40-year-old him. That's real. That's real for all of us. And that doesn't matter what you're in. If you're a store, if you're a brand, an artist, a musician, anything. If you are irrelevant, you are out of business. So you have to do everything you can, and a lot of that is through knowledge and keeping your mind sharp. Like, for example, we travel, man, and we've been traveling for a long time.
Yes.
And that in itself keeps your mind so sharp, man. You know, going to Europe, I remember, James, remember when we used to go to Paris and nobody was going to Paris? Like, nobody. Like, I was going back in 2008 and literally nobody was there. Everybody was going, when they were traveling international, they were going to Barcelona and Berlin. They were going to bread and butter. Paris, nobody was going to Paris. And now, if you ain't going to Paris, you out of business. Like, for real. Like, the whole game and shit. You know, but being able to keep your mind sharp and surrounding yourself. It's like, I even look at it like, you know, you used to always look at Kanye, right? And you notice every time Kanye was dropping music, he kept evolving and changing himself. And he always had these young artists around him all the time. You know, you feed off that energy. You need, like, we look at it, me and Ari talk about it. We in our early 40s. We're keeping young people around us, even though we the cool old dudes, you know. Look, man, this last time in Paris, we was all having a conversation. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these kids. It's a whole different world. You know, this under 25 fashion community, they don't even play by the same rules we play by. Like we talk about the way they design, you know, we used to left chest print, front or back chest, front or back print. Man, they printing on the shoulder, they printing on the side of the shirt, you know. I mean, it's a whole different game, and it's funny. We sit there. Yeah, you know, and they all communicate. They don't talk. They communicate with their phone. Like, they all know each other, but never met. And, you know, and like, really for us, we really observe the game because
no,
it's
repeat
so important
what you
to
just said.
understand.
Repeat what you just said. They all know each other, but never met.
But never met. I'm telling you, man, in one of our showrooms, all of these kids, it blew my mind. I couldn't even believe it. And you knew something was going on there because you could feel the energy. And the thing for us is to understand it. You know, and sometimes we know we're a little older. So, but, you know, the game is different. And the first thing you got to recognize is a wise man knows nothing at all. So, you know, no matter how long we've been in the game, no matter how much we learn, there's still something for us to learn every single day. If you're not learning, you already on your way to irrelevance.
You did.
Right.
Why do you think I'm here?
For sure.
Thank you for the question, man. And bigger than that, thank you for giving us your time.
Yes, sir, man. Absolutely.
All right, thank you, bro. Hey, keep pushing us, bro.
Word. Next stop. Samir jump back on. So we're gonna go with Samir. He's got a question about entrepreneurship.
What's up, Samir?
What's up, Jay?
Same old same. Good to hear your voice, boy.
Good to hear you too, man. Good to see you guys. My question was, what was your biggest mistake?
Oh. Single mistake?
Yeah, just like what's the one thing that just kind of like shook your world the most? That was like one of those moments.
It wasn't in retail, yo. I don't know if thank God, I'll give you what would have been my single mistake that I didn't make to Hutch. And Hutch know the story I'm about to tell right now. In 2008, Nike didn't really love me as much as they do today, right? Yeah. They was dragging me, carrying me, treating me like, you know, I didn't exist and I didn't matter, right? And it was really messing with my ego. So I called Hutch. Hutch, you remember this story?
Absolutely.
I called Hutch and said, man, yo, these people from Nike is like fucking treating me like shit. And, man, this shit is, I'm about to say fuck them. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't deserve this treatment. And Hutch told me, go ahead, Hutch, tell him what you told me.
I told you, I said, there's a lot of brands in the world you can say fuck you to. This ain't one of them.
and listen, but shout out to Nike in this way, right? Because they begin to start listening and they begin to start changing that attitude. And now today, I would say my relationship with them is, I would say it's pretty fucking good. And they've done an amazing job of listening, and not just them. Jim on the Adidas team, a fucking great listener. Torben's a great listener. Eric Leckie, who's no longer with Adidas, was an amazing listener. I can name people who come in these organizations now and got leadership roles in these organizations. Phil McCartney, Chris Wright, Cheryl Neal, like all these people who come into these organizations. JJ's on the line. Fucking, I can name Craig, Terry. I can name all day people who come into these organizations now. It has changed so no one feels like that. Does that make sense? So my biggest mistake would have been walking away before my blessing came and they actually started to embrace our way of thinking.
But you also gotta, you know, think that you put in the work too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It don't come easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, to your point, Frank, and that's what I was going to say. You know, we all try to simplify everything, but at the end of the day, there's a language that everybody speaks, right? It's just, can you figure out how to interpret it and how to speak that language? And I think what it was with James was he wasn't speaking their language yet. So as anything, when shit isn't going well, you work harder. So that's what he did, and then all of a sudden some of the doors started to open because now you're putting more attention to what's happening in that building. Who do I need to speak to? You changing your thinking, and then, you know, then some of those doors start to open.
100%. So it's a mix. So I think that would have been one of the biggest mistakes. And I think what I've learned, I think the thing that I take away from that mistake that I didn't make is the power of the relationship and the power of relationships and understanding how to connect, and also helping people understand my value. I needed to find ways to articulate my value and make sure that people understood how I connect, so they understood what my value was to the global marketplace. Does that make sense? So I think we've gotten better because me as the leader of our organization has gotten better translating what we mean to all cultures around the globe. If that makes sense. And I continue to work. That's something I continue to work on every day. That was actually a good question, Samir. Any follow-ups you got?
Anybody else want to chime in on that one? All right, thanks for that question,
Get away with that
Samir.
answer.
Appreciate it, man.
No doubt.
All right, next up we got Coach A. Coach A, what's about any daily rituals you got?
What's up, Coach?
Hey, what's up?
Man, same old same, grinding away. How are you?
I'm feeling okay. I hurt myself a couple days ago. I was trying to work out during this quarantine. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the videos. I don't know if Trey getting to him, but
you know what? I got him getting to it. I got him out there. I told him my time is money, so I won't play him one-on-one. Every time I play him one-on-one and win, he got to do 10 minutes. He got to do 10 minutes. He got to do 10 minutes of ball handling. I just beat him 10 straight times, and then after every game, you got to work out.
All right, James, you just got off them crutches, boy. You need to chill out.
Man, my knees are killing me right now. but Coach A, I think to answer your question on my daily routine is honestly, earlier in the call I talked about going through my daily to-do list and the exercise of going through my daily to-do list. But I think something else that is important is making sure I catch up with the people that I respect and the people who understand the business and wants to see us move forward the right way. So it's nurturing those relationships, and spending time with the people who do this thing, to just bounce ideas off of them and self-check where I am and where I need to go. And it's funny because it's the thing that a lot of people don't make time to do because we get caught up so much in our work. But it's important to take time and spend the time to connect with people and catch up with people and get on their calendar just to see where they are and to leverage them as stop partners to help you move forward. That's probably the most important thing that I do every day. You there, Coach A?
And the elliptical.
Oh yeah, and that elliptical. I gotta get that. I gotta get my 20-year-old James look back.
I mean, I can attest to you touching base, definitely, and I appreciate you doing such for things like this in this platform. I think it's imperative for the growth of everything and everybody has ambition to do. Is there anything that you really can say that you significantly place or put your finger on that says was just monumentous in changing how you view things and where it all just completely turned around? I mean, the story is there, but then that moment is kind of one of those questions that I have.
Well, I think to Hutch's point is earlier. I think Hutch's point earlier is first you got to understand what your goals are, right? Because you don't know you turned a corner until you know you start seeing you get closer to that goal. Once you know what the goals are, it's no different than when I called you a trade. When I was like, hey, my goal for him is just to understand basketball. I don't want him to go to the NBA. I want him to have to understand the importance of hard work, the importance of showing up and investing in himself and getting better because he invested in himself, right? So it's creating goals and then holding yourself accountable to them, right? Because if you're holding yourself accountable to the goals and you're working towards them, then you're going to start to know when you're turning that corner. Does that make sense? But if you don't define what it looks like, how do you know where you're going? Does that make sense? Like if you don't have goals, plans, a strategy, and a plan to execute, how do you know where you can't even measure where you're going? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to me, it's about having those things because then it makes it very easy for you to measure. And because depending on where you are on your journey, I would say take different steps. Does that make sense? But the first thing you have to do is have a vision and understand your journey.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Dave, let's take it for another 10 minutes, man, and then I'm going to be respectful of everybody's time, man. And once again, if I don't get a chance to say thank you to everybody for coming and spending time with us, man, I appreciate it more than y'all know.
All right.
We'll try to get as many more as we can in the next 10 minutes.
All right, we're going to go to Miles Wilson. Got a question about using fashion to solve humanity's issues.
How you doing, Miles?
Hey, how you doing? How y'all doing?
Oh, man, bless, bro. Bless.
That's good. That's good. Same. I'm Miles Wilson from Greensboro, North Carolina. My question was, is how do you see, fashion and technology fusing together, to solve humanity's problems, because, that's such a good thing right now. Companies that are lasting, for the long run are solving these problems,
What the catch is for me personally, I'm always looking to solve problems I'm selfish with my problems, right? So I'm looking to solve problems for people who come from places I come from. I always talk about the conversation of speaking to the younger version of myself, right? So I'm looking to solve problems for people who don't have opportunities or historically haven't had access to opportunities, right? So for me, I think there was a young lady from New York who asked a similar question. And what I said, the first thing is understanding making sure we have a strong business model as it relates to connecting to the consumer and to the community and making sure the commerce and business portion of the commerce and actual business part of our business is strong so we can actually have revenue to be able to think about how we can start changing things socially, right? Because if your business doesn't work, no one cares. Right? Like ultimately, you lose your voice if you don't have something that people can connect to one way or another, right? The second part is then figuring out what's important to the 20 or 25 communities we'll be in soon and dialing into those specific issues. Does that make sense?
Yes.
For me, it's really just understanding when we're talking to our Greensboro team, asking like, yo, what's happening in Greensboro? Like Greensboro's problems is different than Detroit's problems, although there are similarities around cultural issues, right? But when you start talking about local issues, they're very different than cultural issues. You don't try to, although some things do fit the same in different areas, there's not a solution that fits all marketplaces. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Does that answer your question? Is that where you were
Yes,
going?
sir. Yes, sir. That was pretty good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You answered it.
No, I appreciate you, bro, and thank you for investing your time.
Well, thank you.
All right, bro.
Thanks for that, man. All right, we got a technical question coming in from Lou.
What's up, Lou?
What's going on, Lou? I am from Charlotte. I'm based in San Francisco, though. I got out before lockdown.
Oh, man, blessings.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Can y'all make it possible for me to share my screen?
Go, Dave. Go for it.
It's still saying it's this. All right, cool. So first things first, I want to share my information on the screen.
Okay.
My name is Cindy. I work in tech. I have a technical service that I provide to retail stores
Okay.
under the name Digital Taste.
Okay.
Go here. This is a website. So I offer 3 products at the moment. One is just like mobile apps. So anybody who has a medium-sized retail store with an account on Shopify can make a mobile app for you. I also create 3D walkthroughs of physical retail stores. So let me show this here. I actually did this one for the Greensboro store. And
Yo, bro, you can stop right there. Please text me. I think you already did.
I reached out to you a few times now.
We were looking for your contact information earlier today.
Yeah.
I love how this works, bro. Yo, we literally were talking about app building today. I just laughed at Cad. I just laughed and pointed at Cad because he said one of the servers he built his app, and me and Mike was talking back and forth about him. I was reading. Long story short, hit us offline, bro.
Yeah, and I saw that most of y'all websites, y'all use Shopify, so it'd be a great partnership.
Say less, bro. Hey, one of the days, can y'all text him my cell number?
Yep.
Yeah, text me, bro.
All right, cool.
We'll talk offline. Thank you for yo. Listen, anybody who's on the call when we said start, yo, that was not weird. That was a way to connect, and he just connected. And I was thinking about him earlier, and now we're about to do some business together. Yo, Miles, I appreciate you, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what that is the platform at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I think James needs you to call him. Panic mode, James. There he is.
Yeah. He's talking. I'm like, yo, this is the guy. He hit me on the gram and then said some other shit. We was talking about him earlier today. Like, man, we about to do some things.
Hey, Warren Peace in the building. Hey.
Hey, what's good?
Yo, Dave, let's give these dudes 5 more minutes. Let's give everybody 5 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen, 5 more minutes, and then we can just socialize with everybody for a couple minutes and get everybody on the shot so we can get that screenshot with everybody on it showing love.
All right.
Or matter of fact, let's just call it this. 2 more questions.
And we gonna do a shot. Shut that down, Leo 70.
Two more questions. 2 more questions. These are the last 2.
James, I'm gonna hit you offline too because I want to sell my mixtape in your store.
They call him New York. They call him New York.
Oh no, he didn't.
Yo, Chris Wright's on the call too, man. Bring Chris up. He been hiding all that time.
Chris was good.
Got on my young Euros right now.
Hey, man, y'all don't know nothing about that young Euro. Come on, man.
I got a PRPS collab that no one's got.
Wow.
I think his email was probably Young Euro. It's probably Young Euro.
I still have that email address.
Hold on, I'm gonna find it for you so y'all can pull him on. Or it could just be under his name. Look for Chris Wright. All right, get that.
I still got that passport holder.
Let's get that question. Let's get the question up so we can we make sure we get everybody the time. It's JHUNGYURO.
Hey,
oh no,
Mike.
he said he on here. He muted. It's all good. He on there. All good. Dave, you got a question for us?
Yeah, we're gonna go to Robin Handley.
Hey, Robin.
Good. Hey man, thank you so much. I'm up in DC, so I know that I'm on your store up in DC, and I really respect everything y'all been doing. And thank you. I've been on this call, and it's actually really, really helpful.
Thank you, bro.
So I've been sewing for 3 years now. I make my own clothes and just try and do I'm really interested in that production aspect and not just building a brand with screen printing, but doing dyes, doing sewing techniques, different forms, visual, really cool things, not just wearable stuff. And I was wondering, how do you mix first of all, my first question was, how do you build that relationship between a label and a brick and mortar?
Oh, you got guys on the phone who do it for a living. So the guys from the 3 of the partners from the foundation are on here. That's literally what they do. They literally bring these ideas from creatives, and not that it's something that we would do from a collaborative perspective and even carry your brand or work with you directly to carry your brand. But the guys at the foundation do it at scale, if that makes sense. So I'll let Ari, Hutch, and Dre jump in and speak on this one. Go for it, fellas.
Right.
Oh, I'm back now. I was closed out. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last part? I was trying to get unmuted.
So no, basically he wants to know how to connect between brick and mortar and a brand.
How you build a relationship.
How do you build a relationship?
Pull up.
Well, I used to say you would do it at the trade shows, and granted, the game's a little different now, but I mean, the trade shows still do exist.
I think that's a bad answer though, because trade shows for him, he running into a brick wall these days.
I think the reality is like having the products one part of the equation, right? A guy like James gets pitched, Kevin and James get pitched 50 brands a week. Joe gets pitched 50 brands a week, right? So
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. I didn't know it was from him having a brand. I'm sorry, y'all. I was a little disconnected. I was trying to get my unmuted. I'm sorry. I messed that up.
I'm not even
having a brand is
like really building a brand right now. I'm just trying to learn with the business aspect of it. If in the future I were not to like build that brand, like how can I start a way where, as you said, everybody's connected on their phone, everybody's connected digitally. So like, how can you still build that relationship and show your true brand identity to like?
So Dre said something earlier, and James said something earlier. The only way to start is to start. Right? So the stores you want to be in, you go to them and you hang out and you kick it with the people in the store. And maybe James walks in to check the register or say what's up to his employees or whatever, and you get lucky. Maybe the employees like you, and they hip you to like when the decision makers walk in the door. But like being able to communicate with the guys in the store, knowing like if you have something to offer, what you're offering that they don't have, like bringing them another thing of something they already got isn't always the answer, right? So looking at the landscape and saying, damn, these guys carry these brand, my brand's different because it's X, Y, and Z, and they don't have anything like it. So really it's time, man. It's like Andy Dufresne says, it's just pressure and time, dude. You gotta spend the time in the streets. You gotta go see every store, even the ones you don't think are cool, and understand like what they have and who their guy is, and be cool with them too. Because maybe today your product's this, and maybe tomorrow you'll have a different interest and a different product that you'll need to build a whole different set of relationships on. I think like you gotta get out there and do it. We change product categories all the time. We sell fucking water seltzer makers and headphones and clothes and sneakers and shit. We didn't know anybody.
We sell tea.
We just started a bottled tea company. I've never sold a beverage. I bought lots of beverages. I ain't never sold one in my life. So we don't have one relationship in those markets, but we're gonna go out there and create them. And I don't know anybody. So the only thing we're gonna do is what we've always done. We're just gonna get in the streets and start meeting people and talking to people, which is how everyone on here knows each other, just from going out and meeting people and talking to people. Dre talked about Paris.
Nights.
People like know each other just from being at the bar in Paris. Retailers got brands just from meeting brand owners, hanging out at a bar. Maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time. So, it's kind of see and be seen. Like, you got to get out to be out.
Yo, and Robin, specifically to what you're saying too, we could help because if you're in the younger phases of trying to learn design, we can help connect you. So one of the Daves will send you over our buying team's information. Reach out to us in the morning. We'll take a closer look at what you got going on and try to help you as much as we can.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, it's really helpful because I'm 16, so I don't have any rushing to do. But I'm just trying to learn as much.
Yeah, bro. Man, bro. If you stay at it at this pace and you really invest your time, man, you'll be a monster. Yo, Dave, make sure y'all send them some contact information so we can.
I just got it right here. Thank you, sir.
On it.
Yo, connect to us, bro. We got you. We'll lock in with you and grind with you.
And Robin, unlike these other old dudes up here, because you and I are kind of young pups in the game, but don't underestimate the using, you guys have this thing that none of us had when we started, which is all of this social media platforms. We're learning this as older cats. But you can create a lot from your phone, man.
It's crazy.
And if you can build your own energy up, you'd be surprised at how many of these guys will reach out to you first. So if you can figure out whatever you're working on and using your own social media platforms to build your energy up and try to get it out there and on people, a lot can happen from that. A lot of big brands started just that way. So
Yeah, I mean,
don't estimate creating your own energy.
In the quarantine break, like I made my own site and put all my like collection photos on that, and like it's gotten a lot of like people were like, wow, it looks good, and like that's just like it. Like you said, you don't need validation, but that does help you push. And so
yes, yo, bro, we gonna get at you. We'll make 100%. We're gonna be at you, and like, yo, this isn't just us helping you. That energy, that youthful energy, is what keeps me going, bro. So I love what you're doing, and I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Have a good night.
You ain't got to. I'll be talking to you soon.
Yes, sir.
I bet.
Appreciate it, bro.
But this is the last question, Dave. Let's make it a good one.
Or this one is coming from Donish. I think it's something everybody can kind of chime in on. Asking about the outlook on the market 5 to 10 years from now.
What's up, Donish?
Hey, can y'all see and hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I appreciate y'all's time, man. Every single one of y'all is, I look up to you guys, and I appreciate the opportunity to have this. I do have a few questions. Starting off with, as far as how you've scaled so quickly. I have a store in Raleigh, North Carolina called Courtside.
Mm-hmm.
And I started from a smaller store and moved. We're in a pretty big mall right now. And my question is, for you to scale so quickly, how are you able to have the workforce you do? Like, we're pushing on a $3 million store right now with 5 employees, and my problem now is how do I go about hiring more people? If I want to move to another location and build that location, how can you know that your original location and keep going from there can be ran without you?
Bro, the only way, it's the common theme that we had across this whole session. You got to do it, man. You got to believe in what you built and the uniqueness of what you built and scale it. And you got to continue. Every time I go, some of it's craziness. The other, it's like Ari said earlier. It's a combination between art, science, and confidence and betting on yourself. I'm willing to live and die by this, and this is what I do, right? So when I get my mind set on something, I pretty much sink a lot of time in to make sure that is the thing that I want to do, and that I understand that everything surrounding it is it won't kill me. Once I realize it won't kill me, I just go, bro.
Is there any traits you look for people you employ? What kind of traits you look for, and who you can trust and who you can't? As far as scaling goes, that's been my biggest problem. Is just I've had a lot of people I put a lot of trust into, that's letting me down, and just trying to find those type of people. That's been my biggest difficulty.
Bro, listen, you want me to tell you the honest to God truth? If you Google the hardest part about growing a business, the answer you're going to find is people. Ari just popped up on the screen because he probably is about to say something. Go ahead, Ari.
Yo, it's like anything, right? Like you can build the team and like have great people around you, and that's part of the battle, and having great people is it. But like trusting people and letting go for any like serial entrepreneur, perfectionist is the hardest part. My business tell you, like, I couldn't let go of shit at the beginning. I couldn't manage anybody because I had to do it myself. So when you go from one store to 2 stores, maybe the guy you put in charge, the sneakers aren't as well lined up and the shirts aren't folded the exact way you would want them to, and the jewelry's not in the case the exact way. But if it's always going to be the exact way you want it, then you're going to have one very good store forever. But if you
Right.
want 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, then your $3 million door might do 2.8, and your second
Yeah.
door might do $1 million. So net, you're way up. So part of it is the team and trusting people and letting go, which is difficult. But part of it is knowing that no one's going to treat it the way you treated it, and accepting that other people are going to do things a little differently than you would, and letting go. Because otherwise you just drive yourself crazy, and you'll always have one door. You'll be a hamster in a hamster wheel.
Not be so anal about everything, basically.
Be anal, but just accept that everyone else isn't you.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And
you can't stop being anal. You gotta be anal. Go ahead.
Yeah, be anal, but they ain't all you.
And about scaling, you know, I've inquired of like Crep, for example. You know, that's a brand I've inquired for the store. You know, I've tried to reach out to a few other clothing brands. You know, being a sneaker resale store, I feel like a lot of owners don't look into the clothing that goes into the store. You know, I've looked into expanding with like, you know, even denim brands. You know, you need a nice pair of pants to accent the shoes, and you know, stuff like that. You know, it's very difficult to reach out to these brands and then you don't hear anything back. You know, it can be frustrating, I'd say.
I think Ari, Dre, and Hutch, the guys on the other side of that, they used to represent Crep before they created Defend, which they own.
Yeah.
Which they own now as the well, fellas, go for it. I ain't gonna, this is y'all.
Persistence.
Nah, I already took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say the same thing. Persistence. You know, you have to keep going after something if you want it, but then you also got to understand what other factors may be affecting whether or not you can get the brand you want. Like, is there somebody that's near you? And if that is the case, then you need to respect the game. You know, because we have tremendous amount of respect for people that respect the game. We have people, you know, we have a lot of different brands, and we've done business over the years. And there's some guys that we do business with all our brands. There's some guys we only do business with certain brands. And there's been some guys where literally we're cool with them. We just can't sell them because of their proximity to another retailer. But as time goes on, we built relationships with them, and opportunity may present itself for them to be able to do business with us. And, you know, it's just, if you play by the rules of the game, because there's a lot of people that do funny stuff. Like, if they can't get a brand, they'll go get it through the back door, or they'll hustle the game. If you try to hustle the game will come back and bite you in the ass.
Yeah,
play the
sure.
game by the right rules.
Yeah.
And, you know, just like anything else in life, man, if you do right by people, they'll do right by you. You know, sometimes you feel like you're getting kicked, but it ain't personal. It's just the way that the business goes, you know. And if you play the game right, I guarantee you'll come out on top. And what they were saying about people, man, that is the toughest part of this business, like business model. And one of the things that's key in our business is culture, right? So maintaining company culture in the business that we're in is very difficult. Like, if you had another business, you know, I'm not, you know, all your people are valuable, but people could be like widgets. You can hire all different kinds of people to do the job. Well, the reality is, the business we're in, you can't do that. You need people that fit into your company culture. And, you know, one of the things that we learned early on is you could go find a bunch of cool kids all day long, but are they willing to work? Do they got the work ethic? Do they got the drive? You know, because, you know, you may find somebody that's really passionate about this, but they're not willing to do what it takes to succeed. And the passion, you know, you need it all.
I'll chime in too and say presentation means a lot. So you said you got a resale sneaker store, but if you want to try to get into other categories of business, whether it be something like denim, maybe it's something with your approach. So you have to, you know, if somebody's not getting back to you, it could be, you know, maybe you're not emailing the right person, but you also got to make sure that what you're presenting is also in line with whatever their brand vision is. Sometimes it's hard to sell hamburgers in a candy store, if that makes sense. So,
right.
And I'm not saying that that's impossible to do, but you're going to have to figure out what you're doing in your presentation to convince that brand to understand that that's an opportunity that they're missing out on.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. And if I could ask one last question, where do you see the market in 5 to 10 years from now for, you know, the whole sneaker resale market?
Who you want to answer that one?
Anyone really? Anyone that, you know, all you guys have more knowledge than I do, so I'd love to hear.
I mean, I guess for me, I mean, we're never gonna be barefoot. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's factual. You know, it's just getting into like what, you know, price point or what, you know, what the newest thing is. You know, I think it's always gonna be, you know, since the beginning of time, there's always been clothing. There's always been, you know, rank, royalty. You know what I mean? And so, I'm just excited to see like, you know, where retail itself goes, especially after this. You know, I know everybody's been pushing digital, but like sometimes I don't like that shit. Like I wanna feel product. I wanna see, you know, what the fit is. And sometimes I don't feel like putting labels on shit and shipping it back or knowing your return policy. Or sometimes I might walk into somewhere and spend $1,000, or I might not spend anything at all, but the energy. And that's something that digital can't provide for me. Digital can't provide energy. You know, you can take the best pictures in the world, you can do a lot of shit, but until it's on your foot or until you feel it, it's you know, it's not the
Customer
same.
experience
So I think
very important.
experience is everything to me. I think in 2008, you know, 2009, when I was at, you know, Wish ATL, you know, and it was hard times, I think a lot of people, you know, wanted to come out there because and come back to the store because of the energy and knowing they were going to see something new and different. And so like it was good to get through that because it was like we were serving a lot of things that were different. You know, it wasn't just footwear. It was also accessories. It was also, you know, apparel. It was also just having events, you know, James having this kind of platform, you know, all those things
This is
kind of
amazing.
factor in. Yeah, they factor in. So like when this blows over, people can say like, oh, you know, I was still fed, you know, during that time.
And something else I'll say to you, bro, about resale is from a strategic brand perspective, resale, I think will always have a position, but you got to realize that position is controlled by two major brands. Most footwear
Nike and Adidas.
from Adidas Inc. or Nike Inc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They flood the market. It hurts resale. So when you ask about the future of resale, Nike and Adidas obviously understand the recipe and secret sauce around demand creation. So I think there'll always be coveted items. But I think that one is I'm not obviously in that business, in the retail business. That one's in no one's control, right? Because and the other part about it is from a resale perspective is you start looking at Farfetch and GOAT and some of these big players that have major capital behind their investments. So that speaks to that there is some staying power, but I can't give you a strategic long-term answer to that. Does that make sense?
And I think resellers don't get enough credit too, James. Like I think reselling, you know what I'm saying? It sets the market. It sets for what, you know, organically, you know, they make something hot. And I think that they, you know, it's with anything though. That's with art, that's with watches, that's with anything. But I think, you know, I think that's a whole different part of footwear that we kind of haven't, you know, explored other than like Sean Wotherspoon, you know, somebody who's has their own resale but made their own shoe. Like, you know, I mean, it's definitely a big part of the game for sure.
When you start, I think if we had somebody here who done numbers from demand planning, and then you had somebody that was a PLM here, then you had somebody at retail here, I think you're having a different conversation. But I think we could probably do that for in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we got somebody that's prominent from a brand coming in, and I'm sure he'll have a perspective on this. So just make sure you tune in on our next session.
For sure, I appreciate the opportunity, guys.
I appreciate your time and your investment. Yo, with that, y'all want to unlock everybody on the screen. Y'all want to bring everybody on the screen and unmute everybody to just thank y'all for y'all time, man. Feel free to show your face, say what up, say whatever, man.